Just Natalia's not up there. Yeah, Bill's there.
I just like that interview too. It was on here, but it wasn't connected to there.
Oh, I had that problem in the morning. Oh, he just did some magic touch and it appeared after about 5 minutes.
Now we've lost Sophia.
I'm here. I just,
You're not there?
I know, I purposely came back, but let me put it back on in case
Oh, okay.
any issues. Oh, I'm
There you go. Even though I'll be distracted. I think I can handle that. Good afternoon, everyone. In accordance with sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. Before continuing with my remarks, I'll make some introductions. My name is Donald Taylor. I'll be chairing this afternoon's hearing. And our panel is, on my far left, Ms. Natalia Popovic. On my left is Mr. Stan Komarek. On my near right is Ms. Sophia Ruddick. And on my far right is Mr. Bill Dalton. On my left, below me, is our acting Deputy Secretary Treasurer, Philip Carvalino, and the rest of the support staff. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning that applies to property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create lots. We acknowledge the land we're meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty Number 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. Committee of Adjustment hearings, public hearings, are conducted in a hybrid in-person and virtual format. Some applicants and participants will make their submissions in person, and others will participate virtually by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform. The meetings are also streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may watch on YouTube. Those who want to participate virtually and have registered in advance will be connecting with their computer, tablet, smartphone, or telephone and have the option of participating via video or audio only. All virtual participants will automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, you will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. We ask that you also mute your devices until you're called on to speak. Those participating by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to panelist when your item is being held. During this time, your camera will be enabled. You will only be visible during your 5-minute allotted speaking time. At all other times, your video will be disabled and you will be reinstated as an attendee. For both in-person and virtual participants, Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. Those participating through WebEx are not allowed to use share screen or any other panelist controls during a video appearance. The host will remove you from the panelist role if you fail to respect this instruction. People attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must fill out a decision request card, and those participating virtually need to submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address because the Committee of Adjustment and the Toronto Local Appeal Body will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision to the Toronto Local Appeal Body or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. Only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, specified persons and public bodies, as those terms are defined in the Planning Act, are permitted to appeal decisions of the Committee of Adjustment. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. Our hearing procedure is that I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda, the only exception being applications where the applicant or agent has requested deferral, in which case we'll deal with those up front and then proceed with the numbered agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with their presentation if desired. When the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak to the committee. The committee may ask questions and/or take the matter into committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5 minutes. Any presentations or other materials you wish to submit to the committee must have been emailed in advance of today's hearing. Staff and committee members cannot accept materials at the hearing. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address before you speak. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and make a presentation to the committee on the application. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application, if substantially revised, to ensure the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes. Then, individuals, either in support or opposed to the application, will be invited to speak. Generally, we first call on speakers in the hearing room and then those participating through WebEx. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant agent has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion. The application will then be taken into committee for a decision. Before hearing our first item today, I will ask firstly of the panel, are there any declarations of interest for items in this time slot? I ask the same question of staff. No declarations of interest. Mr. Deputy Secretary Treasurer, have you received any requests for deferral?
None at this time.
None. And are there any applications to close this afternoon?
None on the agenda.
Thank you. Okay, so we will begin with the first item on this afternoon's agenda, number 14, 2 BLAKETON Road. Purpose of this application is to construct a new townhouse building. A total of 8 townhouse units will be provided. There are 9 variances being requested. This application was deferred on April 23rd to provide the agent an opportunity to identify all the required variances and provide notice, publish notice. We have Transportation Review Department conditions, 3 of them. urban forestry conditions, 1 and 2. We have a Ministry of Transportation advisory, 49 letters of opposition, and I currently have, I'll say, 6 persons registered to speak, 5 here, plus 1 that you've identified in your little hall visit, I think. Okay. And so I guess 5 of them are in person and 1 of them will be participating virtually. So before I call on the agent Tatiana Pejovic, I just wanted to make clear and repeat one of the things I said in my opening remarks was, and this is addressed to the speakers that we'll be hearing later, to make sure you address the matters before us, which are the 9 variances. Some of you may well have difficulties with the policy framework for this area, but the fact is the new official plan amendment allows townhouses. You may have problems generally with the zoning bylaw that implements that official plan amendment. Those zoning bylaws are provision. What is in question today are the requests to vary the bylaw in 9 instances, the 9 variances. That's what we'll be focused on in our decision-making. So to the best of your ability, if you could confine your remarks to those variances, it would be helpful. So I will now invite Tatiana Pejovic, the agent, to make a presentation, please. Welcome back.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Tatiana Pejovic, the address 42 Denver Crescent, Toronto, and I'm presenting this proposal on behalf of the property owners.
And sir, your address, please?
42 Denver Crescent, Toronto. You're welcome. The proposal is in a form of 8 back-to-back townhouses, and it is in a category of medium-density residential developments. The proposal is situated on a lot which fronts onto Burnettrop Road, the street which is categorized as a major street, and it is located on the south side of the roadway. After a revision of the proposal and deduction of a lot area for 40 centimeters due to road widening requirement, the proposed front yard setback is reduced to 6.34 meters, which is listed as a variance as per citywide zoning bylaw. At the same time, the proposed front setback is not a variance as per zoning bylaw 608/2024, where the minimum required is 6 meters. In the revised plans, the rear yard setback was increased to 9.15 meters, and in that way, the previously listed variance is eliminated. I would mention that the required rear setback as per zoning bylaw 608/2024 is 7.5 meters. The required minimum side yard setback for a townhouse is 0.9 meters, which is provided on the west side of the building, while 1 meter and 40 centimeters is at the east side of the building. As it is elaborated in the EHON Major Street Study on page 5, quoted, the side yard setback is proposed to be increased to 7.5 meters if the small-scale apartment or a townhouse are oriented to the side yard and have main windows, such as living room windows, on the side elevations. I would note that in the proposed building, none of the units are oriented toward the side yard, and there are no main windows facing the side yards. Similar is with the lot frontage requirement under the clause number 28. These requirements are applicable when the front and rear elevation of townhouses are facing side yards and the row of townhouses is perpendicular to a major street. The proposed townhouses are not facing side yards, and they are parallel with the major street as well as with the pedestrian mews. As per zoning bylaw 608/2024, the permitted maximum floor space index regulation do not apply to a townhouse on a lot abutting a major street. The floor space index listed in the zoning notice is based on the application of exception in the citywide zoning bylaw for residential detached zone. At the same time, there is no identified variance for floor space index under zoning bylaw 608/2024. The coverage under the footprint of the building is 50% of the lot area, or 53.9 as it is noted in the zoning notice, including roof overhangs. We would note that the landscaped area is maximized and the driveway is only 12.3 square meters. Green areas with existing and additional proposed trees encompass the proposed building and present a green separation between the subject site and the surrounding. I would mention that in the received planning staff report, there are no objections to the proposal and stated his opinion that the application is consistent with the intent of the policies set out in Official Plan Amendment 727. In the received transportation report, there are certain conditions and no objections. The intention of the enacted zoning bylaw 608/2024 is to initiate and permit low-rise residential intensification on major streets by allowing a variety of built forms, such as townhouses, six-story apartment buildings up to 60 units, houseplexes, and garden suites. We believe that the proposal at 2 BLAKETON Road is consistent with the intent of low-rise residential intensification along major streets and represents a modest option among the alternatives permitted under this bylaw. We also held 2 community meetings with the residents to provide more detailed information about zoning bylaw 608/2020.
Ms. Pejovic, you have 30 seconds to wrap up.
I am finishing. Also to provide more information about the proposed development in light of these directions, as well as to hear residents' perspectives. I would be happy to answer any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pejovic. So, questions or comments, panel, for now? Not now? No, we're good? Okay. Then let's start proceeding with our list of registered participants, starting with people in the room. The first one I have is Michael Warren. Yeah, I downloaded that from January 16th. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I went through it last night. There you go.
Is this something new? No, it's something old, that just something make its way into their agenda package because it didn't upload properly. So I'm just trying to make sure that they're aware of that staff report that was first.
Yes, and it is uploaded on
Here, it's,
Application Information Center.
I've got one copy here.
Clarification, this.
This staff report does not take into effect, letter came after the fact for revised bylaws, correct? So this is prior to that.
Yeah. We often don't repeat submissions made in previous hearings, so. This is kind of an important one, though. I'm not saying that because of what you did.
That's why we
Yeah, I'm glad you did. He can't. That's as big as it goes.
So this is the January
16th.
report. And it's a information report.
Yeah.
Sorry for the delay.
Yeah, sorry, everyone, but I think it's important that the committee members all have a chance to review this report. So Adam, the person that you identified will be speaking, they're in the room, okay. Mine too, anyway. But you had to go back to the January 16th hearing to get it, yeah. So you're good? Okay. So let's call on our
Actually,
first.
Mr. Chair, can I
Sorry.
ask a question
Yep.
of the deputant, which might be more appropriate now than at the end?
You want to speak to the agent?
Yes, please.
Yeah, thanks.
Sorry, good afternoon. I'm just curious if the applicant made any attempt to purchase 416 Burnhamthorpe Road to create a larger site with fewer variances.
At this moment, no, but that is something which looks like a natural, maybe a step, but at this moment, no.
Okay, because essentially you're going to wind up sandwiching a single-family home between a commercial use and this.
Yes, we bought this lot, but there was no any
There was no attempt to
discussion.
do-
Yes,
no, okay.
intent. Yes, it exists as a potential idea, but of course it's a property of somebody else who still didn't. We bought this when it was posted on sale, but
Understood. I just wanted to just get a little historical context. Okay, thank you. We'll come back. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll invite our first speaker to the podium then, Michael Warren. Good afternoon. If you could just start off by repeating your name and giving us your address.
I shall. First of all, my name's Mike Warehun, or Michael, and I live at 1 Blaketon Road.
Could you flip that mic up a little bit? The last speaker was shorter than you.
Alrighty,
There you go.
there we are, all right. Michael Warehun, or Mike Warehun, and I live at 1 Blaketon Road. Chair and members of the Committee of Adjustment, my name is Michael Warehun, and I'm a resident of 1 Blaketon Road, located in the immediate vicinity of the subject property. I appear before this committee today as a concerned neighbor to formally object to the minor variance application. The applicant is seeking permission to construct an 8-unit townhouse in a back-to-back configuration, 4 units facing one street, 4 units facing the opposite direction, with variances to 3 provisions of the zoning bylaw and as amended. The question before the committee is not simply how many units are on the lot, is whether the specific configuration proposed can meet the standards the city has deliberately established. In this case, it cannot. The variance requests are not minor, they do not reflect the intent of the bylaws, and the application should be reviewed. The first variance sought is to section 10.5.4 1040.70 of the bylaw 569/2013, which governs minimum front yard setbacks across all residential zones. This provision exists to preserve the established character of the streetscape, to protect sightlines for pedestrian and traffic safety, and to ensure a livable buffer between the public street and private dwelling units. A back-to-back townhouse effectively produces 2 front yards, one of which is directly beside or facing a backyard or a side yard. Simultaneously, any reduction in the required setback therefore degrades the streetscape character on both streets at once, doubling the neighborhood impact compared to what would occur with the conventional development. This is not a minor deviation, it is a structural consequence of the unusual configuration the applicant has chosen. The second and third variances are to the sections 102040.70 and 102040.1 of the bylaw 608/2024, which is the low-rise residential intensification on Major Street bylaw adopted by City Council in June 2024. I draw the committee's attention to the important fact that these are brand-new regulations passed less than 2 years ago following extensive public consultation process. The city created bylaw 608/2024 specifically to govern how intensification would occur along major streets, including the exact type of double fronting townhouse configuration the applicant is now proposing. Section 102040.7 sets the setback requirements for configuration, and Section 102040.1 establishes the minimum width of each dwelling unit, both of which is being sought as variances here. Granting variances to regulations that were crafted so recently and that were designed precisely with this type of project in mind sends a troubling signal. If the applicant cannot meet the standards specifically written for a back-to-back townhouse on a major street, the answer is not to vary those standards. The answer is to redesign the project. To grant relief from bylaw 608/2024 at its very first application is to nullify the work of City Council and the community consultation that produced it. With regards to the 4 tests under the Planning Act are not satisfied. Under Section 45 of the Planning Act, this committee must be satisfied that the variances are minor, desirable for the appropriate development of the land, and consistent general intent and purpose of both the official plan and zoning bylaw. I submit that none of these tests are met here. The variances are not minor. They affect both street frontages simultaneously, strip away protections that were built specifically for this configuration. The variances are not desirable. The development that requires relief from 3 separate bylaw provisions to proceed is one that does not fit the land it proposes to occupy. And the variances do not reflect the intent of the bylaw because the bylaws in question were written to permit intensifications only where certain minimum standards of setback, unit width, and orientation are met. Standards this project fails. In conclusion, I respectfully urge that the committee to refuse the application. The variances sought are not minor. They contradict the specific intent of both bylaws 569/2013 and the freshly enacted bylaw 608/2024. The back-to-back configuration chosen by the applicant is the source of the non-compliance. and
Mr.
is
Ware, sorry, your time's up.
Okay,
If you can just wrap up in a few seconds.
absolutely. The applicant should, you know what? We're good.
Okay, just stay there for a second.
Yes.
Questions or comments from the panel of Mr. Warren? Okay, thank you very much. Take your seat. And I'll now invite Mr. Ron McAllister.
Before I start, I'd just like to say, I'd like to contradict her statement about not contacting
Your
John.
name and address, please.
Sorry, it's Ron McAllister, and I live at 2A Blaketon Road.
Okay.
So before I get my time, though, I'd like to contradict one of the statements that she made earlier, because John was approached by them, and he said, "I'm going to die in this house before I let somebody take it over." So that was his comments.
What house is that?
That was 416 Burnham Thorpe.
Oh, okay, that's the one I asked about.
Yeah, exactly. So he's my neighbor, so I talked to him about it. He says, no, bugger off. I'm not interested in selling my property.
Okay, but he was approached.
Yeah. So he's not happy. I'm not happy. So anyway, thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm here to strongly oppose the proposed 8-unit townhouse development at 2 Blaketon Road due to its incompatibility with the surrounding neighborhood and the impacts it would have on nearby residents. The proposed building is grossly oversized for the site and wholly incompatible with the established character, scale, and streetscape of the surrounding neighborhood, particularly along Blaketon Road. It's Blaketon Road. They're using this conjunction with Burnham Thorpe, but the house is basically on Blaketon. It's not on Burnham Thorpe. The driveway's on Burnham Thorpe, but it's the house itself. So the height, scale, and close proximity of these proposed townhouses would create direct and intrusive overlooking into our property. It's going to be 4 stories. They're going to be looking right down on our house, right into our dining room window, and right into our backyard. This is a backyard that we've lived in for over 27 years. We're not going to have any privacy whatsoever. The height and proximity of the proposed building would obstruct our north-facing windows, significantly blocking the natural light and sky views that are currently enter our home. Additionally, it will block the morning sun from the east of 416 Burnham Thorpe and the setting sun from the west for 1A Blaketon Road. The proposed structure will therefore result in a loss of sunlight access for existing neighborhood homes. This development would also increase traffic congestion and parking demand in an area that is already constrained. Additional vehicles from multiple units will create safety concerns for pedestrians, cyclists, and residents, particularly given the limited road capacity and parking availability. During morning rush hour, there's a long wait to turn left from Blaketon Road onto Burnham Thorpe. Additionally, a few times each month, traffic issues on Burnham Thorpe Road or Highway 27 cause drivers to divert into nearby residential streets, usually driving up Blaketon Road in order to turn onto Burnham Thorpe. During these periods, the queue of vehicles waiting to turn regularly extends for approximately 2 to 3 blocks with typical delays of up to 20 to 30 minutes. So we're going to have cars in front for 20 to 30 minutes. We have photographs and videos documenting these conditions, and we can provide them upon request. Potential damage. Due to the excessive size and scale of this proposed development, we're deeply concerned with the extensive excavation and construction required. It could cause serious damage to neighboring properties, mature trees, in addition to the loss of existing green space that would further exacerbate issues related to stormwater management, drainage capacity, and localized flooding impacts surrounding residents. The increased lot coverage to 53.9%, the applicant reduces the amount of permeable groundwater for natural water absorption. At a time of increasing rainfall and flash flooding, replacing green space with an extensive concrete footprint places undue strain on the city's storm sewers and elevates the risk of surface runoff and flooding into neighborhood properties. We heard from one of our neighbors that they've already experienced flooding due to a single-family building adjacent to their property. Property value. We have consulted 2 local real estate professionals, both of whom advised that the proposed homes would definitely have a negative impact on our property value. So we're essentially subsidizing their profit. We're paying for their profit because we're going to lose value in our house. That's just inherently wrong. We bought this house 27 years ago, and we bought it because it was a single family house area. None of these houses along Burnham Thorpe, if you go from East Mall all the way to Dundas, there's not one home that's more than 2 stories. Not one home that's more than 2 stories. Now, the new one across the street is, but it's set well back from the street. This one is going to be like right over us, and that is just not in keeping with the integrity of our neighborhood. We had a meeting to meet with 2 of the 3 owners of the proposed development during which they outlined their plans. The meeting was attended to full capacity, and it was clear that none of the neighboring residents in attendance were satisfied with the explanation provided. The applicants repeatedly insisted that they could have proposed an even larger development. They were essentially threatening us. We could have even done a bigger one, they said. However, the neighborhood is united in our strong opposition to this development and our deep concern regarding its potential impact on the community. In closing, the requested variances are not minor and fail to meet the 4 tests of the Planning Act. These variances are substantial, inappropriate in scale, and they result in an overdevelopment in the site that crowds the lot, eliminates privacy and light, introduces traffic and flooding concerns, disregards the existing streetscape, and seriously undermines the quality of life of surrounding residents. I strongly urge the committee to reject the application in its current form. Any development of this new site should be significantly reduced in scale to ensure full compliance with applicable bylaws. It seems like everybody who's got a building, a hammer, wants a bigger building.
I'm sorry, but you've run over your time
Okay.
by 38 seconds, so
All right, thank you. Appreciate that.
just don't move for a second.
Yep.
Questions, comments? We're good? Thank you very much.
Quick question, has anybody been to that area? Has anybody seen this? I mean, has seen how large this is gonna be? This house right now, it's like 1,000 square feet. Like, I challenge any one of you, if there was a building that big that was built next to your home, would you just allow that summarily? You wouldn't. I can answer probably confidently that you wouldn't because
We don't
it's so
answer- we don't-
grotesquely.
Sorry, we don't answer questions. We listen to your evidence, so
Right.
thank you. Thank you very much.
I appreciate that.
Okay, our next speaker is it Helia or Helia
Yeah,
Ralph?
Helia is good.
Helia,
Yeah.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm Helia Ralph. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and members of the committee for listening to my comments. I live at 22 Blaketon Road, and my family has lived in the Etobicoke Center for over 40 years. So the proposed new build of 8 townhouses on 2 Blaketon Road on a 66 by 120 lot size, which was previously a single-family dwelling, is far too big for the lot size and does not meet the intent and purpose of the bylaws. All the properties on Blaketon Road are of similar lot sizes, bungalows, and 2-story single-family dwelling homes. So to say that we are outraged about this proposed 8 townhouse build is an understatement. The residents, as you started to hear, on Blaketon Road and nearby residents will be negatively affected by this proposed new build. The residents all share the same concerns. In the interest of time and to avoid duplication, I will not address the variances that you've already heard about, as some of my neighbors will address those concerns and have already in this regard. I will address some of the other concerns, again, that we are all in agreement with. And they are safety, congestion, parking, property value and aesthetics, infrastructure, and utility load. So I'll just briefly talk about each one of these. Safety. Blaketon Road is a fairly short road with a lot of children and elderly residents. This road is already heavily traveled, and the proposed new build will further increase the car traffic and safety concerns that we have. Along the same lines, congestion. Blaketon Road is already congested. A lot of times, as you heard already, it takes at least 5 minutes to make either a left or a right onto Burnham Thorpe Road. Again, the proposed new build will only exacerbate an already congested road. Parking is another huge concern. With the number of proposed townhouses, where will they park? Where will their visitors park? I know from experience at our other family home on Royal York in Oakfield, where the developer built fourplex and garden suite, they parked on Oakfield Drive. On her street. We expect the same will happen on Blaketon Road. Property value and aesthetics. This is a prime residential neighborhood that has only bungalows and 2-story homes. We are concerned that this new build, if approved, will drastically change the character of our neighborhood. We all know that there are only 3 words that sells houses: location, location, and location. Infrastructure, utility load. Currently, we have numerous power outages in this area. We are concerned that this new build, if approved, will only exacerbate the problem further. There are also flooding issues on Blaketon. And again, we are concerned that this new build, if approved, will only make this problem bigger. In summary, we all agree that housing and affordable housing are major concerns for us all. But how does this proposed new build contribute to affordable housing, which is the #1 issue? This is the definition of doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Since the bylaws changed in 2022, all we are accomplishing is making developers richer. People still can't afford or rent, much less buy a home. So if 4 plexes and 6 plexes and garden suites aren't bad enough on our residential streets, now we're dealing with townhouses such as this proposed new build. What will be next? A high-rise condo right next to our houses? We urge that the committee members consider all of these concerns from our residents and reject this outrageous proposed new build of 8 townhouses on our residential road. The address is to Blaketon, not Burnhamthorpe. And again, as you said, how would you feel? I know that's not the decision you really are making here based on the feelings and everything, but it is real. How would you feel if this was right next to your property, this ridiculous, outrageous new build? So thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you. Before you go, Ms. Rolfe, just in case there's any questions or comments? Okay.
Thank
Please
you.
take your seat. Thank you very much. Okay, the next name on my list is Avinash Kupar Bhaskar. Afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Avinash Bhaskar. I'm at 1A Blaketon Road. So thank you for the opportunity, Chair and members of committee. I live directly opposite the proposed development on Blaketon Road in Etobicoke. I just want to quickly piggyback on what Hellier said earlier, is that this development is on Blaketon and not on Burnhamthorpe. You know, when the major streets, they keep mentioning major street, it's actually the driveway is going to face Blaketon Road right opposite to my house. I speak as a long-time resident of a quiet single detached residential street that adjoins Burnhamthorpe Road. I'm asking you to refuse or at least minimum significantly scale back this application because it pushes well beyond the zoning framework and creates serious lasting impacts on traffic, light, and heat exposure and neighborhood stability and value. First, the variances themselves show the proposal is not a minor departure from the bylaw. It is a wholesale rewriting of it. I'm not going to list all the variances here, but would like to highlight a few that in my view do not constitute as minor. Gross floor area and floor space index. The bylaw allows 135 square meters plus 25% of the lot area to maximum FSI of about 0.5, 366.15 square meters. The application proposes 135 square meter plus 168% of lot area with an FSI of about 1.87. This is nearly 4 times the permitted density. Front yard setback. Minimum required is 8.69 meters. The proposal is 6.34 meters, pushing the mass closer to the street, increasing overlook and street wall effects and affecting traffic visibility. I was asked to cut down my hedges because people were not able to get onto Burnhamthorpe. And how is this allowed when I'm just asked to cut down hedges? Side yard setbacks. Minimum required is 7.5 meters. The building would just be 0.91 meters from the west lot line and 1.14 meters from the east. These are not minor encroachments. They eliminate the breathing room expected in this neighborhood and raise fire separation and maintenance concerns. Dwelling unit width, minimum required is 5 meters, proposed width is 4.01 meters. That shift encourages a narrow, stacked format that intensifies use beyond what the street was designed to handle. And separation between main walls of the same. townhouse or apartment building. Required is 11 meters. When there are openings, only 6 meters is provided at the vehicle parking level. That compresses internal courtyards and funnels activity and light into tight spaces. Taken together, excessive FSI, deep reductions to setbacks on all sides, added length, and narrowed units, the development intensity is far beyond what the zoning anticipates for this lot and this block. This is incompatible with the physical character of BLAKETON Road. Second, traffic and infrastructure. BLAKETON is a quiet local street. It was not built to absorb spillover from a large high-density building. With Burnham Thorpe already a busy arterial, drivers routinely cut through a street to avoid queues. Adding a building of this size with constrained on-site separation and parking levels will increase. I myself, for one, will not be able to get out of the house once this townhouse is built because I constantly face the issue of trying to get out and get into Burnham Thorpe, and there's always a queue of vehicles just right in front of my house. Daily vehicle trips, pickups, deliveries, and ride hails, curbside conflicts as short front backs limit on-site loading, safety risk for children and seniors who walk and cycle here. Our local infrastructure, narrow roadways, sidewalks, winter snow storage, storm drainage was designed for single detached homes. Intensifying fourfold without proportional upgrade strains those systems and shifts real costs and risks to existing residents. Third, light, privacy, and heat. The combination of an oversized mass, minimal side yards, and 4-story platforms will cast longer and deeper shadows across the street and adjacent yards, especially in winter when sunlight is not valuable. So we have to make more upgrades to our house to compensate for their building. Like we have to build like energy system that can compensate for this heat loss. These are tangible daily quality of life impacts and not abstract planning concerns. Fourth, neighborhood stability and home values, which our neighbors have already talked about, which I'm not going to go into details. This is not about opposing growth. It's about fitting growth to context. If the applicant brought forward a plan that respected the permitted FSI, honored meaningful side and front setbacks, and stayed within the building length limits with proper separation from platforms, we could have
Sorry,
a
sir, I have to
constructive
interrupt.
conversation.
You have 30 seconds to wrap.
Yeah, I'm going to close it. So for these reasons, I respectfully request that the committee refuse the application as submitted. BLAKETON Road is a fine-grained, low-rise street that deserves sensitive, context-appropriate development. I urge you to uphold the bylaw framework and protect the public interest by refusing these variances. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Panel, any questions or comments for Mr. Bhaskar? Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
You can take your seat.
So, Mr. Chair, we do have a couple additional in-person registrations. William Wilkerson. Is there a William Wilkerson in chambers? Okay. Yeah.
My name is William Wilkinson, and I live at number 6 BLAKETON Road. All of the things that I were going to say have been said by other people, and so I'm not sure that I would add a whole bunch to this. However, the real concerns that we have is just to the amount of issues that this whole plan is going to cause for the street. And if you were to spend a little bit of time on the street and just see how much traffic there is, just how many more people it's going to add to this little bit of space on the corner, and all of that kind of thing, and the fact that we have problems with insufficient parking and safety issues, and the failure to meet the 4 tests under the Planning Act. Developers frequently seek to maximize profit by overdeveloping single lots and reaping the profits while leaving the existing community to deal with the permanent fallout of traffic, darkness, loss, and privacy and safety concerns. We urge the committee to deny this application in the current form. Development on this site must be scaled back significantly to respect the setbacks, parking requirements, and density limits that protect the integrity of the community. I thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Just before you leave, sir, before you leave, just in case there's questions or comments.
Sorry.
Are there any? Okay, I'm sorry. Take your seat. Thank you
Okay.
very much. So we have another in person that isn't here?
Yes, Yulia Prudova.
I think she's coming.
My name is Yulia. I'm at 10 Blaketon Road, and I wanted also to express my opposition. However, I will just join in with all my neighbors and people who spoke before, because we all will talk about same issues. Mainly, I'm concerned with the variances that are around setbacks, and also the planning of the parking or drive-in into this development. This will definitely choke the street. It will result in over population on that corner. It will also result in street parking that will further be very difficult for the main intersection at Burnhamthorpe and the East Mall. So that's our main concern. Not main, but one of the concerns for me. And I would like to thank everybody for such eloquent comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a moment, ma'am. Questions, comments? Okay. Take your seat, please. So we now have one more, and it's virtual, correct?
And that's correct. I'll connect them now.
Karina Vincent?
Yes. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, committee members. My name is Karina Vincent, and I live at 46 Blaketon Road. And like the other said, I'm not going to go into details about why we oppose each individual variances. But in general, I'd just like to say the City of Toronto and most city residents do agree that we need to increase housing density. So the city developed new bylaws to meet this need. And yet, in spite of these new, very recent bylaws, the developer does not want to follow them. They are asking for variances over and above them. Why? The cumulative effect of what they're asking for will have a huge impact on this neighborhood. Also, this city's urban forestry team has been trying to increase very diligently Toronto's tree density as well, which, given climate change, is an extremely worthwhile goal. Please take a look at the trees on this street. The development at 2 Blaketon will have a permanent detrimental effect on this tree canopy. I'm not sure if you can see. Yeah, you can. To location. So 2 Blaketon is on a main road, which is why the new bylaws apply. But the orientation of the lot does not lend itself to a main road type of development. It's roughly 66 by 120 feet, where the longer 120 feet fronts a residential street, Blaketon Road. So they cannot build a driveway off Burnhamthorpe, which is the main road. So they want to use our smaller residential street for their driveway. This is a real concern, not just for the people who live on the street, but others too. We have several community spaces very close by, and those walking to a Toronto Public Library, which is literally 2 lots down, walking to the Ladybug Daycare, which is like 3 or 4 lots down, and walking to Bloor-Lee Middle School right down our road will be negatively impacted. I live and drive on the street. I know how long it takes to turn left onto Burnhamthorpe, and the speed at which drivers turn off 420, get off the 427 and turn onto Blaketon Road is shocking. And 2 Blaketon's proposed driveway is going to be right there. That is literally an accident waiting to happen. Now, in the past, the developers submitted a map of opposition for many past hearings. It complains that people who live in the small neighborhood of Eatonville have no right to complain. neighbors like me who live right down the road or others who live a few streets from me. Yet they in their justification report show variances from the four corners of Toronto, from like developments at Shepherd Avenue East and Bayview, Lawrence Avenue East and Brimley, Finch Avenue East and Bayview. You get the gist. We don't know why those variances list was signed off on. Maybe there was a large tree that could not be cut down, so they compensated with a variance. Maybe there was some utility infrastructure there. More likely, local residents did not know they could raise their voices in objection. It takes time and effort to speak to things like this. For example, this is the third or fourth time we've had a hearing for this development. Most people do not have this time to spare. Maybe that's why those variances were approved. But we are speaking up. We hope you listen to us. What you do here will impact this neighborhood greatly. It will set the tone. The next developer will point to what you approve here and to Blaketon to get their variances approved. So this becomes a vicious cycle and makes a mockery of the city's bylaws. The variances do not meet the four tests of the Planning Act, and I respectfully ask you to reject this application. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Ms. Vincent? Comments? Nothing? Okay, we'll invite Ms. Pajovic up for an opportunity to rebut.
Thank you. From the beginning, it appears that there is a huge misunderstanding regarding regulations and permissions which are allowed under the new zoning bylaw 608/2024. And I would just also address, when you also asked me about the neighboring lot or so, I can say that it is absolutely not true what was previously said from one of the neighbors, that anybody approached to purchase any other property. It is not me as the owner, not my husband, and not the third our partner. So I would like, if they continue to state that, to identify that person who they are talking about. So I would address, obviously there is a big question or misunderstanding or not understanding about the side setbacks. So in the zoning notice and in the public notice, I would address the item number 1, which is the width of the lot, and which is in fact the frontage of the lot, and together with the side setback. Both of those zoning requirements are referring to a definition which is including here, and that is that one or more units are not oriented to a major street. So further to this orientation is the explanation regarding orientation is given in the EHON major study, where, as I quoted previously, it said that the side yard setback is proposed to be increased to 7.5 meters if the small-scale apartment or townhouse are oriented to the side yard and have main windows, such as living room windows, on the side elevations. As I noted previously, none of the units are facing side yards, and there are no windows which are pertaining to main rooms that are facing side yard. May I ask if on the screen can be presented the justification report, page number 19. It's figure number 13. Yes, that one. So this is a development which is in a vicinity of our proposal of the address to Blaketon Road. It is 417 and 419 Bernathrop Road. Those are back-to-back townhouses which are approved, and that is configuration where we have townhouse units which are facing side yards. Obviously, it's necessary to have certain side yard distance towards the side lot lines of the lot. And here is requirement to have 7.5 meters on one and 7.5 meters on the other side. In this case, it was approved 6 meters. So for this lot is also necessary to have minimum frontage at least 30 meters. So when we have 7.51 and the other side it's 15 meters, together with the natural or reasonable length of the units, it is given in the zoning bylaw minimum of 30 meters. As I noted also, and it is elaborated in our justification study, our units are not facing side yards, and there is no that requirement which is provided in EHON as a clarification in EHON study that there are rooms with the main windows facing side yards. May I ask now if on the screen can be presented page 35 of this justification report? It's figure number 26. Thank you. So this is axonometry, and it is one of typical buildings which is elaborated in EHON study, and which is one of in the typology of the buildings which can be applied on as a low-rise residential intensification on the major streets. When we see here, those townhouse units are facing one side major street. With the rear elevation, they are facing their rear yards. That is the same with our proposal. Back-to-back houses are facing major street, and on the other side, they are facing rear yard. In addition to this, just as a comment to comments that were given by the neighbors, there are no overshadowing because the position of a townhouse building is on the north side, so there are no shadows towards the other buildings in the vicinity. And in this case, we also see that the preference is to have a driveway which supplies garages which are in the back parts of in the rear parts of the lots. So we have our driveway is also from a flanking street because preference is not to have comb of driveways which are fronting onto a major street. Our driveway is...
Sorry to interrupt. Just, can you just wrap it up here over 45 seconds?
Okay. Yes, in fact, also the review was done by the professionals in the planning department.
Sorry, you're way over your time.
Pardon me?
You're way over your 5-minute allotted time limit.
Thank you. That would be major part.
Okay, just before you leave, questions, comments? Yep, oh yeah.
I'm trying to understand why bylaw 569-213 is being applied to your situation. Do you know why?
That would be necessary to have more clarification maybe from staff. From the beginning, we were receiving zoning notices which were in every stage were more and more refined and defined. So what I was reading also in the studies, that it is expected after 2 years or 200 projects that all what was seen as not synchronization between two bylaws, that it will be solved. So we see in fact that obviously floor space index is a part of a residential detached application, and it is given even as a...
It's also, I mean, multiplexes are also exempt from that.
Yes.
Yet you're being held to this, and it's confusing to us because, you know, in my view, if you're going from 0.4 to 1.87, that's not minor.
Yeah.
I can't define that as minor. But I'm confused as to why why this is being imposed on you.
It is left over. Even in fact, reference here to floor space index is not according to a residential detached zone. It is referring to exception to a residential detached zone.
So the property that you've purchased is in an exception
Yes,
area.
it is an exception. And
Were you aware of that when you purchased it?
I can't recall at this moment, but I'm saying, in fact, that it's also stated in EHON study that exceptions will be considered and clarified over the time. Obviously, we believe that this is.
Yeah, but in the meantime, it's our time to do it, so. Okay.
But on the other side, I would mention that floor space index per zoning bylaw 608 is not applicable. Just a moment.
I understand. That's why I'm asking you the question.
And that is also not, which is important, it is not listed as a variance. So there is no variance for floor space index under, because in
Under 608,
Yes.
but there is under 569.
I-
I mean, the variance is there. I can't ignore it. That's the problem.
Yes, and obviously it cannot be, it's not variance which analyzes a detached house. It's not reasonable that it is applicable to
To a
townhouse.
townhouse and a multiplex.
And-
I understand that. But the problem is it's still there. So my next question relates to variance 5, which is not the old bylaw, it's the new bylaw. And that one, again, your side yard setback, is less than a meter when your minimum required is over 7. So again, explain or justify why you think that's minor.
Yes.
And I believe your rationale is you don't have any windows facing that way. But the point is that setback requirement is still there.
It's when we are reading literally, just applying wording of the. Let me just read that. It's number, I believe, 40. Yes. So.
So it's still, yeah, I mean,
It's just the wording, but explanation in how orientation is considered. It's also given in EHON, and that is saying that orientation is according to position of the windows and position of the.
I understand your explanation, but the point is that the plans examiner still caught that as a variance. And if that explanation were the case, then why would this be listed as a variance?
Because it seems, as it is said also in a staff report, planning report, that it is one of the technicalities, as they are saying also in their report, conclusion of their report, in respect to side yards, in respect to landscaping, and in respect to also water retention, is that the community planning staff are of the opinion, which means, in fact, professional review of, I believe, of this very same proposal as it was at the first stage reviewed by the zoning examiner, where are applied just literally definitions without the essence of the building, and in conjunction, in fact, with the EHON study and with the guideline for building of townhouses and small apartment buildings. So the conclusion is that the application provides a diverse mix of housing types and sizes to increase housing options in neighborhoods, provides setbacks that are generally contextually appropriate. So their opinion is that the setbacks are contextually appropriate, provides sufficient soft landscaping for tree planting and storm water retention, provides safe and accessible pedestrian walkways.
Okay, what provides? In general, or your application in particular?
Our application, that this is conclusion in respect to application, to the proposal at,
Yeah,
it's on the
unfortunately, we
page
didn't have the
number
benefit
2.
of that report in our materials, but. So,
This report is dated January 16th, and it was also uploaded on application
Yeah,
information
no,
center
I understand
website.
that, but I'm making that comment for benefit of staff here, not for your, not for your benefit. So I'm just, that should have been included in our package. Yeah, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments? No? Okay, thank you very much. We're going to go into committee now and perhaps have a bit of a discussion before we render a decision. Well, maybe I'll kick the discussion off. Yeah, I'm not, it's unfortunate for the applicant that they still have to comply with bylaw 569/2013. But because they do, they cause some, I'll call them egregious variances, like variance 3. The maximum FSI is 1/4 what's proposed. I have a problem with variance 1, the frontage being 20.19, whereas 30 meters is required. I have a problem with variance 5, the minimum side yards, 7.5 required, 0.91 and 1.14 proposed. The rest of it is okay in my mind, but those 3 are not okay. I cannot describe or feel comfortable with describing variances 1, 3, and 5 as being minor. So that's where I'm thinking right now.
Yeah, I think that's where I was coming from, Mr. Chair. It's, you know, if this is a EHON application that fits the EHON definitions, then why do we have these variances? It's a contradiction in my mind. I mean, if this area is an exception, then the only conclusion I can draw is that council envisioned this area to be exempt from EHON at this point. Otherwise, why are these variances here? And I'm not sure planning can have it both ways.
Yeah,
So
I have
would
a
agree with
difficult,
you.
I have a difficulty with an 8-month-old approved official plan amendment and bylaw requiring 6 variances. We've been quite consistent in dealing with EHON, whether it was garden suites or laneway suites when they were first introduced, brand new.
Yeah.
We were very careful to make sure that the variances were definitely minor, like 5–10% kind of thing.
Yeah, but you know, at the same time, it boggles my mind why a fourplex proposal will be exempt from the GFI, but this proposal is not.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't, something's not right, and it's not up to us to straighten it out.
No.
We can only decide on what's been provided in front of us. And given on what's been provided in front of us, when I look at this in totality, it seems like a bit of a shoehorn.
Yeah.
So,
I'll chime in as well, Mr. Chair. Along those lines, I agree with the comments about minor variance 1, 3, and 5 as really standing out. And in a sense, I think of it as theory and practice. There might be a theory, there might be a policy, a directive, and so forth. But what we have in front of us is the practical reality that there are 9 minor variances, 3 of which, to my mind, just cannot get over the minor nature hurdle. And that poses a real, whatever the arguments behind it are, the fact is what's before us is what we have to decide on. And that's where I'm having the biggest trouble, is getting over those in particular that you've identified as being minor. And I don't see how we can get past that, speaking for myself.
Yeah, well said. Ms. Reddick, Mr. Dalton?
Well, I was just going to add that OPA 727, which does apply to this site, permits construction of townhouses and small-scale apartment buildings up to 6 stories and up to 66 units as of right. So, having said that, you know, what's before us is 4-story. Okay. they're on a major street. They comply with that. Where they get rubbed is that they're on a corner because they have a Blaketon address. But if they had gone to city staff looking for access off Burnhamthorpe, they wouldn't have gotten it
Right,
because it's too major.
right,
So they would have been pushed to Blaketon anyway,
yeah.
regardless.
We want lots of development on major streets, but no driveways.
That's right. So they're between a rock and a hard place, and there's also a disconnect between 727 and 608-2024, because when 608-2024 came in, there was a lot of blowback because staff were trying and the city was trying to put it into a box, and you can't put it into a box because 727 provides for a larger building type, of which they're not achieving.
Right,
They're less. That's where the disconnect is in terms of the variances versus the policy. But having said that, you know, I'm getting the sense on this side, you're not supportive of it. I am supportive of it, so I'll leave it at that.
okay. Any closing sentiments? Ms.
Yeah,
Rada?
closing sentiments. The presenters are very good at not repeating comments that made before. I must say that I agree with this half of the panel, and I can't support it either because of the reasons stated. I don't find that it's minor in nature and consistent, and I wouldn't be able to support it. And if you didn't want to make a motion, I'll make a motion, but I'll defer to you.
I'll just make one quick comment, yeah. When I compare this proposal with the one right across the street and a little bit to the west, I'm sure you all know it. If this property had been able to acquire 416, and I understand they're not going to be able to do that in the lifetime of the current owner, but if they had, this whole thing could have been reconfigured, and I dare say it would have been a lot more acceptable to you. Say they were all fronting on Burnhamthorpe with a single lane going out to Blaketon.
Even if
or
they were
something
coming, even if they were coming out of Blaketon, I think it would still make a lot more sense.
Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, that's the other piece too, is that you're gonna essentially landlock that single-family
Yeah,
home.
and you use the term shoehorn, which I think is good. I don't think this lot's big. It's obviously not big enough to accommodate what's being proposed, based on the number of variances that are required.
I mean, if I can make one last comment, I mean, quite frankly, this is, I think it is an appropriate location for intensification. It's something I'd like to approve, but it's difficult to do when you're presented with these items as variances.
Right. I would agree.
And for that reason, I will move refusal.
Okay, is there a seconder for the motion to
I'll
refuse?
second it.
Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, the application is refused by a vote of 4-1. Okay, now we can move on to item 15, 222 King Street. This is a consent application and two minor variance applications, one application for each of the proposed parts. We have urban forestry condition 3. We have community planning is okay with the application. Development, engineering, and transportation review have conditions. Heritage planning has 4 conditions of approval. And we have opposition from 237 Church Street. And I think we need to speak to the agent about whether this is, whether all the variances required have been in fact captured, correct? So Rock Kim is the agent.
Hello, my name is Rakim. I'm the behalf of the owners. The address is 386 Young Street.
Okay. Mr. Kim, we captured what we believe are a couple of, at least 1 or 2 missing variances, which would cause us to treat this as a automatic deferral. So maybe, could Mr. Kamorik, would you mind explaining that issue?
Yeah, I think I would want to do that through a question to the applicant. You're asking for a variance for the balconies on the 3rd floor with regards to their setback to the property lines. But what about the size of the balconies? Are you aware what the maximum permitted size of a third floor balcony is?
There was no variances of the size of the balcony on the third floor.
There's no, I don't understand your statement.
On, yeah, on the zoning review, there was no variances actually.
So
for the
you had a
balcony
zoning
size.
review done for this?
Yeah, I had a zoning review before that. Then there was issue with the lot size was different as per the R plan. So I changed the lot size.
Okay, because you're going in on a waiver, right?
Yeah, waiver, that's right. But
Did you change the size of the,
yeah,
did you change the
if
size?
there is any, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, if there is any issue with the third floor balcony, we'll get rid of that.
Okay, so if you need a variance for the size of the third floor balcony, you're willing to go forward without asking for that variance. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we're gonna get rid of that. Yes.
Okay, because you're asking for balconies of 18.5 meters squared, and I believe the permitted as of right is only 4 meters.
Yeah, that's what I believe. But I don't know honestly. That's because of this the duplex is waiver for the
No, the
for the
FSI
size
is,
of the
the
balcony.
FSI is waived
But
because it's a
yeah,
duplex, but not the size of the
but
balcony.
we are fine. Yeah, for the balcony variances, we can get rid of that.
Okay, so then you're also asking for a variance number 4, which has to do with the distance of the balconies from the lot lines. I mean, if you're only going to go with 4 square meter sized balconies, you're not going to need that variance.
We also need for the front porch is too close, and the back side ground floor deck is part of the
Is part of that variance.
issue with the side yard setback number 4.
Okay.
1.2 meter is requirement for the front porch and the back ground floor deck.
Okay, but in the description there, it says a proposed rear yard deck will be located 0.7 meters from the west side lot. If you're going to go with 4 square meters, it won't be.
Yeah.
For yeah, balcony, we will get rid of that if there is any issue with the zoning for the third floor. Because I already got the zoning waiver and the zoning review by the examiner, and then I just changed the number of the lot size. So
I'm not
but
sure
the
what
owner
you're saying.
actually there was issue with the backside. I saw that the complaint from the backyard. So the owner was confirmed we can fence that around all the way 6 feet to the back, but it's not part of the committee anyway. So
Yeah, I understand you have an objection from the rear, and it has to do with your balconies. But that, I don't know if that objector is here to speak to us or not, because we could explain to
No,
him,
there's no registered speaker.
because we can explain to him that your balcony is going to be much smaller than what you're proposing on your drawing.
So we have actually 2 speakers that came in chambers. One that's located at 1852 Jane and 220 King Street.
They're to speak to this item. Okay, well, let's go, sorry, I'm not sharing, you are, but you want to go
Okay, we're
forward
going to do
with this?
things in reverse. We've asked a question first. Now we're going to ask you to make a presentation.
Okay, Mr. Kim?
Yep.
Can you make a presentation to us, please?
I can explain to you regarding about the briefly. So it's just simply I already talked to you about the setback issues front porch, and then rear deck part has to be 1.2 meter setback from the side yard. But we have a side yard and then both side yard setback issues 0.7 and 0.8 meter. So that's number 3 and 4 of the comment of the variances. So if you have any question, please let me know.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments, panel?
So my only question, I just want to put some finality to this, is do you no longer require variance 4?
So there is the variant number 4, main wall such as deck, porch, balcony, similar structure had to be 1.2 meter setback from the side yard. But we have the front yard porch is 0.7 and the backyard 0.8 of the ground floor deck.
The
So
ground
we
floor
still
deck.
have an issue.
So you still need
Yeah.
variance 4 for the ground floor deck?
Ground floor deck and porch at the front.
Okay,
Yes.
because there's no reference to the porch at the front in this variance.
So presumably you don't need it for the porch at the front. Maybe we'll see you again someday. Anyway. Did you say there are 2 speakers?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Are they both virtual?
They're actually in chambers.
Ah,
So we got
let's have, give me a name.
Stan Bilal. Oh, sorry. Aldo. Yeah, you can come up.
Good afternoon. My name is Aldo Zadori. I live at 220 King Street, next door to the building. The problem I have is that right now they have it as a rental property. And I approached the owners many times. I've been living there for 21 years. To build a fence and help out and make sure, I had to call for about 8 years for them to take care of their property, and they haven't done so. I have pictures. I also have videos of trees that are growing into his gas pipes, pushing it up, and I had to tell them. I also, parking is very, very hard because you live on King Street in Jane, and we have a lot of people that live at the buildings that end up getting crippled, passes, and they park all along there. He already has like about 6 people that park in that driveway, and they also park on the front lawn. Numerous of garbage, stuff like that they rent to certain people. I don't even know who they are. It just ends up getting into a big mess where random people come knocking at my door asking me, is this where we pick up the stuff? I don't even know what they said. I said, get off my property before I call the police. And it's always issues. They have bonfires in the back, and I don't know how many families are in there because it goes in and out. I understand if he's trying to build, I guess it's 2 properties that he has there, and they're pretty big, and they're going to be actually looking over, I guess, into our backyard. I've asked the gentleman many a times to help. We'll put up a fence to keep it, the peace, because I don't bother with them, and to take care of the property. I don't even know who owns the house, don't see them. And I got also statements of 8 years of always calling wildlife coming out of their abandoned garage, so many things. So I don't know what his plans are with these 2 buildings. If it's going to be more rental.
Property's owned by Nazli Zafar.
And I get his mail at my house. And I bring it back. I called so many times to make amends to do stuff, but nothing happens. And they just ignore it until the sheriff comes in, or not the sheriff, the people come in, and they make them cut their lawns and everything and trim their trees that are growing wild. It's just a headache, and especially we're at King and Jane Street, and you got a lot of walks of life coming around that area. So,
Well, we only deal with proposals to build, not people issues.
No,
But
I get it.
I hear you.
I get it, and I'm looking at most of the I know it's the zonings that they usually get, but I'm just nervous about certain things that's going to happen after these 2 buildings go up, and issues of that's going to occur. Like, I don't know what his plans are, if they're going to be rental properties or if they're going to be, something to sell.
Well, again, we don't know either.
I know you guys
We're
don't.
not gonna ask, yeah.
And I understand that. And yeah, it's also too, this is 3 floors. Am I correct? Yeah, 3 floors. And I have the same house that he has there is the same as mine. It's 50 feet wide, all the way 130 feet deep. And I know they're putting 2 homes. It's going to be tight. I don't know if they're going to come close. Is it going to come close to our walkway? Or
Just to clarify for you on that issue, there's no height variance requested here. So the height he's proposing is zoning compliant.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's going to be a lot taller, but it's within the permission of the zoning bylaw.
So
Yeah.
you're on the east side?
That is correct. West side, I think it's west side.
West side. So
Yeah,
you're-
220 is
You're
west.
away from Jane Street.
Yes, I'm away from J
Okay,
Street.
so on the west side, he's proposing, if I got this right, 0.7 meters?
Yeah, I believe so.
But it's for each lot, so I gotta figure out which is, that's part C, yeah, okay. Yeah, so he's proposing to be about 0.7 meters away from the property.
There's one more thing. I don't know how it happened, but we had our water mains done on that street. Their shut-off water is on my driveway. Like, I don't know how that happened. And I'm assuming, I don't know, if anything goes wrong, I'm already having problems trying to park my cars because that zone was pretty bad when they were doing the water mains and stuff. And so if they have to do something to their house, they're going to have to block me from my driveways. I was hoping that they would probably put it on their property. I mean, it's an old neighborhood. King Street is like, I think it's over 150 years old. It's the bicycle. It's a beautiful neighborhood. So.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments for the gentleman?
Yeah, okay, so I think they're withdrawing their permission for the large balconies at the back, but as of right, they still could put a small one in. Are you interested in having a privacy screen?
Yes, I'm very interested.
Because we can ensure that they do that, so.
Yeah, that would be great because we already have issues with there's buildings even on the
Yeah, no,
back.
I
know, yeah.
that's fine. Just wanted to ask because I need someone
Thank
to
you.
say,
Well,
yes, they want it.
Privacy would be really great.
Okay.
And our usual standard for a screen is 1.5 meters tall.
Mm-hmm.
So it blocks people while they're sitting, but not standing.
I got you. Understand.
And your water meter, I hear your pain. My shut-off is in my neighbor's yard, and it's under his tree, and the city couldn't find the damn thing.
Oh, there's a lot of things that are like, I honestly, like, I do a lot of construction myself, and I see this. But when I see stuff like that, even their gas meter, if I didn't show it to them, that oak tree was going to push that thing right
Yeah,
up.
I obviously, there's some communication that needs to be happening.
Yeah, and I get concerned because I know that I'm next door to him. Something goes wrong, and I'm going to have to suffer the other certain things, right?
For sure.
That's all.
Thanks very much. Is there anything else for the gentleman? No? Okay, thanks. You can take
Thank
your
you.
seat, please. And we have another in-person.
We did, but they currently not in the building. We checked around and.
They left the building.
He had to go. His daughter.
Oh, okay.
Somebody broke into her place.
Oh.
Stole her juice, so he had to go.
Oh. That's unfortunate. So let's call back Rock Kim for a rebuttal and answers to some of the questions posed by the neighbor.
Hi, this is Rock. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry about the tenant issues and then the water issues at the front, and then honestly, there's nothing that I can talk about that much. But the third floor, I'm pretty sure the owner was agree to make the private screen all the around the third floor if it's allowed. If it's not allowed by the the zoning examiner, I'll ask them again. We'll get rid of that first. And then the owner that he's gonna live on the one of the property, and his brother Tanwil is gonna live on the other house. So that there's no more tenant, current tenant will be live there anymore. So hopefully that'll work. If there's any questions, please let me know.
Okay, thank you. Panel, any questions or comments for Mr. Kim?
No, I think, so you're fine if we impose a condition that if you construct a balcony, and it's going to have to be to the permitted size, you're going to do a privacy screen on the east side, and then we'll ask for the same thing on the west side. So the east side for part 2 and the west side for part 1.
It's already on the plan, our east and west side, but we'll block the back side too.
You don't have to block the back side. Let me see your plan. Show me what drawing number.
On the elevation, I think there's the side elevation. Yeah, it shows the private screen on the
It's
third
on
floor.
A3 and A4 drawing.
A3, okay. A3 is showing me the front, which is not what I'm interested
It's
in.
the east and west elevations show a 6-foot
Yeah,
fence.
there.
Oh, okay. Okay, but I still want to put the condition in because the balcony is not going to be as per these drawings because he can't make it this big.
That's right. Because these balconies are what, 2.4 by
10 feet by 20 or something?
200 feet?
Yeah, that ain't
He's
gonna
allowed
happen.
16.
Well, he indicated he's got a zoning review and it wasn't picked up on the zoning review.
Well, it's too
so-
bad.
Well, that's his battle between him and the zoning examiner.
Yep.
Yeah, and if it gets picked up, he'll be coming back here.
Yes, he will.
So, okay.
Okay, so time to,
I'm going to put text because that elevation could potentially change. Because the site plan, or the floor plan is definitely going to change. Right? Okay, unless there's any other discussion, I can take a crack at doing a motion.
sure.
Okay, so, oh, wait a minute, I got a question for the applicant. Are you aware that Heritage Planning is asking for conditions now as well?
Yes, I was aware of that.
And you're okay with those?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I'd like to move approval of the severance and the resulting 4 variances. Would like to do that on the condition of the ECS conditions and advisory comments, forestry condition 3, and that privacy screens of what does that 5 feet come out in meters? 1.5 meters. Privacy screens be provided on the west side of part 1 and on the east side of part 2. And I believe those are covered under ECS, but if not, then transportation conditions as well.
Yeah, it's one report from development.
yeah,
engineering
I
and
know.
Transportation review, yeah. So all conditions from both of those departments are captured in that report.
Yeah, and with the understanding that there is no variance for a balcony beyond 4 square meters. Because if you do want that variance, we would have to actually defer and come back. So,
But he said he doesn't.
he doesn't, so that's fine.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that captures your motion, right?
Yep.
So is there a seconder?
And the heritage.
And heritage
Heritage memo.
condition, yeah.
Yep. I'll second that.
All in favor? That's approved unanimously. Thank you all for your participation.
Sorry, who
Next
seconded?
item, 16, is 210 Beta Street. This is an application for consent and 2 applications for minor variance. 1 variance application for each of the 2 proposed parts. There are 5 variances for part 1, and I just want to confirm it. Yes, 5 variances for part 2. We have urban forestry condition 3. We have development, engineering, and transportation review conditions. Planning is okay, and we have heritage planning conditions. There are 4 of them. So the agent is Austin Emino.
Yep, hello, my name is Austin Emino of 82 Formosa Drive in Richmond Hill, and I'm the designer and agent for the owners of 210 Beta Street.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, just before we start, we do have 2 speakers that are not on your list. They are in chambers.
Oh, for this one we're doing now?
Yes.
Okay, I'll call on them at the right time. Okay, in light of the fact, I was going to say this is pretty straightforward, but in light of the fact we have 2 people that are interested to speak to it, if you could carry on with a presentation, please.
Yep, so we're proposing to sever the lot and construct 2 detached duplexes on the property. So we're requesting the consent to sever the land, then 5 variances per lot, which are for a reduced lot frontage of 7.62 meters, whereas 12 meters is required for a duplex, lot areas of 306.6 square meters each, whereas 465 square meters is required for a duplex, reduced side yard setbacks of 0.6 meters on the interior facing sides only, whereas 1.2 meters is required, a roof eave projection on the interior sides only of 0.18 meters from the lot line, whereas 0.3 meters is required, and the rear deck projection of 3.05 meters, whereas 2.5 meters is the maximum. And these smaller setbacks occur on the interior sides of our lot, not the sides adjacent to the existing neighbors, as on those sides we comply with the 1.2 meter setback. So as part of the presentation, we submitted research to show the comparable lot severs in the area. This included an aerial map showing the lot severs nearby our property, along with a table showing that we're in line with past approvals for lot area, lot frontage, and side setback for similar proposals. We also provided actual images of the built form of these properties to show that our proposed design has a similar massing to fit within the context of the neighborhood. We went door to door to neighbors within a 60-meter radius of our property on May 14th, and we dropped letters in all the mailboxes. The people that we were able to talk to at the time seemed fine with the proposal, and we didn't see any opposition posted online, so we're not sure of who the other speakers are here today, as they didn't reach out to us. Should Committee of Adjustment approve this proposal, we're fine with the urban forestry, heritage planning, and development engineering conditions. We also want to note that community planning didn't have any comments on our proposal. Therefore, we believe the proposal passes the 4 tests of Committee of Adjustment. The variances requested are minor. The proposal is desirable for the appropriate development of the land, and the proposal maintains the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw and official plan. Thank you.
Okay, we're just going to have a little round of questions and comments here. I'm going to kick it off. Variance 5 regarding the platforms. Similar to the last application, you're not requesting a square meterage variance, but I noticed from your plans that the proposed decks are considerably larger than the 4 meters squared allowed by the zoning bylaw. They're more like 12 meters squared. Do you require another variance to allow those decks as shown in your plans?
No, so I believe since we fall under the multiplex
Oh, it's
bylaw,
ground.
the platform areas aren't
Okay,
limited.
sorry. Any other questions? Alrighty. So we do have 2 speakers in the room.
Yes. We can start with Mardu Romero.
Good afternoon. My name is Martin Romero. I reside at 218 Beta Street. I did receive the note. However, nobody spoke to me about this, so there wasn't any indication that I had to reply or neglect anything. So I'll start by saying that I have lived in this community for over 30 years. It's a community that we thrive, that we love. Recently, it has become I don't want to sound negative, but I mean like one house goes down and 2 will come up, and that has been going around for pretty much everything. Now that leads to a lot of density, a lot of traffic, a lot of issues, snow removal and whatnot. Alderwood, when I first moved in, there was a lot of bungalows. There was a lot of space that you can actually bike. You can actually walk. You can actually enjoy. It feels now like I am part of Bathurst, downtown Bathurst College area. So close by. There's no way to park. There's no way to like anything. You don't feel comfortable in a place like this anymore. I'm almost feel like I'm getting kicked out of my own community. Nobody's going to want to buy my house in a place where it was actually thriving now that is over dense. The 2 houses adjacent to mine on Valermo, it was actually a single home at one point in time. 2 new ones came out. They sit high. All the water is coming into my property. All these units that are coming in, there is no space for any water like go anywhere. Hydro has become an issue. What is the city doing about the infrastructure at the end of the day? I consistently get power outages where I did not get that before. Just this morning, I actually had one. It's a burden, right? It's an actual issue. Why? Like, what is it that is happening to Alderwood? And I'm speaking from my heart right now. What is it that is happening to Alderwood that is basically just becoming an overcrowded area? Leaside, and I'm just comparing. Lisa has been a community that has been for like decades, and that is not allowed. I don't want to say that we don't want new houses to come in. Yeah, tear one down, put another one back in. Yeah, we want to make a new maximum 2. But if we're talking about two duplexes there, imagine the numbers. I mean, like it just doesn't make sense. I want to express in a way that it makes sense, that resonates with the community here, with the city, that it is still a beautiful neighborhood. But what I'm seeing now is a money-grabbing thing, and I'm being open right now. Builders come, buy a property, put 2 houses, sell it, move on. The people that live there get stuck with the issues that come after that. Winter, we can't put snow anywhere. Parking is an issue now. Like I might as well move downtown. If I want to live in a good community, that's why I've been here. My wife actually was born and lives there. My in-laws been there since the 1950s, and it's not longer what it was. My daughter and I crossing the street, Valermo and Beta, just down the street from my house, we almost got hit by a car because the density and people don't respect that anymore. It's just not what it was. I'm sorry if I'm actually sounding a little like I'm frustrated, but it leads to a little bit of frustration. I want the community to thrive. I want the community to more people come in. But when we're actually talking about 4 different units actually being put in a small place, where are these people going to park? What is that going to do to infrastructure in the city? Hydro, sewage system, snow removal, all this stuff. It's not just that one. It's if you drive around Alderwood right now, it is that. It's become overpopulated, right? I mean, I'm all for housing, like and everything, but with certain limitations, right? Again, I'm going to compare it to my friends in Leaside. We don't see that. Is that because they're not allowing it? What is it? What is different from Alderwood to Leaside, where Alderwood's actually considered something very nice, and it still is. It can be. I feel like we need to do something about this. Either review what is being built, what is the requirements that need to be met or revised, for that matter. And again, I'm going back to the infrastructure on the city. What is the city doing about hydro? What is the city doing? Are they reviewing the sewage system? Are they reviewing the running system, like what we have there before we actually sign off and say, yeah, okay, go ahead, build. The people that are there, they're going to deal with it. They're going to learn to live with it, right? So that's kind of like what I had to say. If there are any questions, please.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? Comments? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we have another person?
Yes, we have a Mark Leonard.
Hi, thank you for having me. I want to apologize. I'm not going to be as formal as some of the other people. My name is Mark Leonard. I live at 213 Beta Street. That is across the street from 210 Beta. First thing, I'd like to actually disagree with the statement that was made that there was no opposition to this change to 210. My in-laws actually live at 215 Beta Street next to us. My father-in-law had open heart surgery in February, so they are unable to attend, and they are in opposition. One of the ladies that was here with us lives at 211 Beta Street. She wanted to speak. She has a dentist appointment at 3:15. She could not attend to give her opposition. We also have elderly neighbors that live at 209 Beta Street. The husband has dementia, and the wife looks after him all 24/7, so they are unable to attend, and they are not in favor of this. I would like to formally object to the proposed two duplexes, as it is not in keeping with current dwellings on Beta Street. I have a number of concerns. One primarily is parking, regardless of what this plan is going to look like and how many parking spaces they provide. It's inevitable that cars are going to spill out onto the roadway. My wife and I bought our home on Beta Street in 2007, and one of the things that I noted when I moved into the neighborhood was how many cars were parked on the road at our section of Beta Street. I guess it's been 19 years now. It's gotten progressively worse. This is in fact part due to increased density in the neighborhood, and obviously some people move into the neighborhood and they have more parked cars. There were two fully detached homes on one on the northwest and one on the southwest corners of Valermo that were replaced with semi-detached homes. So two down, four up. Because of the lot configuration and the parking configuration of these homes, they are not able to park on Valermo Street, and inevitably they spill onto Beta Street, which provides further parking congestion on our street. I have a 16-year-old son that is learning to drive. My wife and I want him to drive. He wants to drive. We want him to drive as much as he can so he becomes comfortable and competent as a driver. Typically, he'll drive to and from school with one of us, to and from basketball with one of us, to and from grocery store with one of us. There have been occasions where we have planned for him to drive and he has handed me the keys, or I've taken the keys from him because I've been uncomfortable as a parent letting my 16-year-old try and navigate exiting our driveway and onto the roadway because I was concerned that he might strike a parked vehicle. This is a conversation that I had with a neighbor. In the last 2 years, we have noticed on Beta Street an influx of parking tickets. One of the neighbors spoke with a ticketing agent that was part of Toronto Police Services, and they said that they were notified, or there was a complaint filed regarding the number of parked cars on our street, and they acted upon it. My thought is, if Toronto Police Services receives a complaint and validates it and sends an agent to a neighborhood, that should be validation that there is a problem that the residents are seeing. Construction congestion is also a concern of mine. There is a semi-detached home on the southeast corner of Valermo and Beta. The address is actually, I think it's 417 Valermo. It's slated to be demolished and replaced with a two semi-detached homes. There are properties located at 195 and 169 Beta Street, which is down the street from us. I've noticed that there are construction fences around the properties, but we're far enough away that we didn't get any of the typical notices that are filed for being within 60 meters. There are properties at 223 Beta Street and 224 Beta Street that have been under construction for well over 12 months. As a parent, I am concerned with dump trucks on our road. I'm concerned with tradespeople that are on the road. The more homes that you introduce into a neighborhood, the more trucks and the more tradespeople you bring in, that causes further construction congestion. Something that I would like to share with you is something that I actually witnessed yesterday. The elderly neighbors that live at 209 Beta Street are unable to take care of their yard. So I do snow shoveling in the winter and I do the grass cutting in the summer. Yesterday, as I was cutting the boulevard, I heard a sound. I could hear a truck coming up the street. So I just kind of watched it as it passed me. It went up the street, and these trucks have netting with arms on them. The arms grabbed two residential hydro lines and snapped them. They both fell to the ground, and this was, if you can imagine, the width of a lot on our street is maybe 30 feet. So the lines hit the ground less than 30 feet from where I was standing. Continued on, didn't stop, and it went farther up the street, and it actually took out two more hydro lines between Valermo and Lanner, which is very close to a school. I have a lot more I'd like to say, but obviously I know I'm out of time. I would urge you to reject this application in its current form due to the increased traffic and parking congestion that we expect to see, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments?
I guess I just want to make a comment about both presentations. The stated objective of both the city and the province is to intensify density. And all we can do is to address the variances that are being proposed and whether they're appropriate or not.
Okay.
I totally hear you. I've got a 19-year-old daughter who's going through the same driving business, and I just pulled the steering wheel away from her yesterday when we were driving. And we've got dump trucks going up and down our street, which never used to happen before either. But it's the reality of that's how the only way you can intensify is with more construction. So,
Can I comment?
Sure.
So typically what we see in our neighborhood is, or at least on our side of Browns Line in East Alderwood, is 1 down, 2 up. We feel strongly, and these are the people that live like in close proximity, that 1 down, 4 up is just a bridge too far. And further to Martin's.
Yeah, but unfortunately, City Council does not share your views, and this might be a good time to note that there's a municipal election happening this year, and you might want to reflect that in that election. This applicant could propose a 4-plex on this site as of right without even coming here.
Okay.
So that's the reality we're living in.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Anything else, panel? Okay, thank you. We'll now invite Mr. Amino for a rebuttal opportunity.
Yep, so I don't think either person really commented on the variances themselves, so I think it was more just kind of general issues of traffic and parking, which aren't variances for this property, but we did maintain a garage in the design, so there is 1 parking in the garage, 1 parking on the driveway, so each lot would still have 2 parking spaces on it. In terms of stormwater management, that's something we deal with at building permit stage. We'll do a grading plan to make sure all the stormwater is managed within our own properties and doesn't impact the neighbors. And I think that's pretty much all I could say.
Thank you. Panel, any questions or comments for Mr. Amino?
Sure. I just want to come back to my favorite topic of side yard setbacks and why the applicant feels that it's okay to only provide 2 feet on the interior side per property when you've got the space to spread that out a little bit.
Yes, so when we looked at the kind of past approvals in the area, we found that most projects with similar lots of us actually get approved for 0.6 meters on one side and 0.9 meters on the other side, whereas we've actually done 0.6 meters on one side and 1.2 meters on the other side. So we've actually increased.
But you've increased on the
exterior side
outside.
yard.
I'm just wondering why you
Right.
did, why wouldn't you do like 1 meter on the outside and do 0.8 on the inside and actually provide the new homeowners with some decent space between the two properties?
Well, for kind of the part of the design plan with having the basement unit access from the rear yard, we felt like keeping 1 yard at 1.2 meters, which is the required setback, gives a comfortable access point to move, furniture and whatnot to get into that unit.
Okay, now I'm just trying to understand the rationale. Anyway.
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay, is there anything else before we go into committee? Okay, then let's go into committee for some discussion if required, or a decision.
Jeez. On the surface, it's not a bad application. It could be better, but we've seen worse. That's my comments.
Yeah, I think the gentleman that spoke made some interesting observations and expressed concerns that are very real to them.
For sure.
About the impact of intensification. And they do have real serious implications, and they raise a lot of interesting questions about the impact on infrastructure. However, I think as Mr. Komoric pointed out, the city is all for intensification. We can only assume that they anticipated infrastructure implications and precedent setting, as I think maybe the second gentleman said, everything from Brown's Line east in Alderwood is one house down, two up. It is a growing trend, which is unfortunate for people like you, but is precisely what the city wants. So we're here dealing with 5 variances, not the bigger issues about infrastructure implication and a greater intensity. That's already been decided. There's going to be more density. Intensification concerns, I don't know to what extent, if any, the city's considering that. But we're not here for that. We've got 5 variances to look at, and I think I agree with Mr. Komoric. The application could be improved, but it's better than some we've seen.
Yeah, well, I tell you, I'd rather see what we're seeing here than an application for 4-plex with a garden suite and no parking proposed.
Yeah.
Which could also be, which we have seen, and I don't think would be as appropriate for this neighborhood.
Yeah, and that could be done as of right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sometimes you got to go with the devil you know rather than one.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway. On that note, I will move approval of the consent and the related variances, subject to the usual conditions of ECS and advisory comments, subject to 4 heritage planning conditions, subject to forestry condition 3.
Right, thank you, Mr. Komoric. Is there a seconder for Mr. Komoric's motion?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. All in favor? That's unanimously approved. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Amino. You want a little break? I wouldn't mind emailing my wife explaining why I'm not home at 3:30. I guessed wrong.
Yeah,
Okay, so 10 minutes?
We can do 10 minutes.
Is that good?
we are gonna get through the, all the way through.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We can't leave until we go through the whole thing.
Because I have a community consultation meeting at 6. Oh, sure.
Can I just ask you how you know we're gonna get through this? You said you're gonna get through this. I'm just wondering how you know.
We're gonna get through it.
That's what I'm asking. How
She doesn't know.
we are gonna.
Oh, you don't know?
She asked, he said we're gonna get through it.
Yeah.
Okay. Good, thank you.
They're getting paid. Well, that's good to know. Well, if it was a law, I'd be.
I was on the Toronto Queen Catherine, remember, and gave us $300 a meeting. So some months in before meeting, it's $1,200.
No, I
But you know, we get paid for the site visits, you gotta do reading all the materials. Before the digital age, we used to get two binders, thousands of pages full of files. Now we get the electronic files, so that helps.
It's pretty pathetic, the responses on it. Oh, well. It's good enough. It's just, it is. No, I'm not blaming them. It's just the mandate. It's good enough for them. Before, it used to be very precise. You can have to. Hmm?
You see more technical?
Yeah. You
Well,
have to
I've
be
seen
very,
like,
it's very specific.
yeah, I've seen old community adjustment decisions before the evaluation. Full on minutes.
Oh, no, they even like, it was just very, much more specific. Now it's sort of like, oh, well. Like there's no, I'm not blaming anybody, it's just, there's no, it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
We'll see what it looks like, and it'll never look the same.
Just, I think things have changed too, because like one of the things that most now deal with frequently, which is what I had to do. I was a member when they introduced the new citywide bylaw. So every community adjustment application that I was hearing was at the old bylaw and the new bylaw. So we had to sit there and consider two separate bylaws because the bylaw that's enforced now is under appeal. 10 years. You'd have two sets of variances.
Well, it's just, I think when people don't live in a neighborhood like this, and they're just looking at it down below, like, oh, it's very easy to say, oh, well. You know, like the people who make the rules, like it's so, it's not objective, it's not personal at all.
Well, the thing is, though, like the official plan policies are very,
Yeah.
they have to be general. So then the zoning is specified technical detail. But even that gets hard to hash out. So, at the same time too, I think previously, like, you know, in the 1980s and 90s, there was actually time for each application to be
Yeah,
heard.
no, that's when we were doing building.
And you could go into very technical details in the presentation.
Yeah, well, you'd be doing all this downstairs and before it came, and the variance rare. Like they would really iron it all out.
Well, you know what it is too, is that the zoning bylaw has been, I think, detailed too much. Like,
Well, I guess they never dealt with the volume they do now.
well, it's eight, it's the volume, so they have to, no, it's five, so they have to, general where you can specifically utilize them. But the thing is, though, too, what's happening with the bylaw is that the A is changing so much, constantly in flux. The regulations are years ago.
It's hard. I just watched the documentary last night called The Fall of Minneapolis. We're grateful we live here.
Yeah, what did they do?
Did you ever hear that? Google it one day. It's really fascinating. It's a George Floyd.
Okay.
And I knew some people who lived in Minneapolis, and they left. It used to be so beautiful, such a sweet place to live. Now it's anarchy.
Yeah.
But it's a really good documentary, like, to read about how things change. Fall of Minneapolis. It's interesting. My name's Doris. And which item are you for? The last one. I'm just listening because I'm a neighbor.
Oh, you're not participating?
No.
Okay.
That's me. What's that?
It's Doris for the last item.
I'm just listening. I'm just here, a nosy neighbor. I live next door, so I just want to hear what's going on.
Yes. Oh, we had the wrong list.
Which one are you here for?
The last
The
item.
last one. I don't want to. There's no point. There's no point. What's that?
Yeah, she's here.
She's here. She's going to speak. I don't have anything new to say.
No, I don't.
Change your mind when I speak, you can let us know. The key is to neither oppose nor.
What's that?
The key is to neither oppose nor.
By the way, I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to it. Doesn't matter. Oh, maybe I will keep you here till 7, just for the fun.
I saw the director has one.
Gotta keep us till 7:30 so we get over it.
What's that?
Gotta keep us till 7:30 so we get over it.
Alex, I'm gonna fly over. Oh, yeah.
I have to sit up here because it's so hard to hear.
Yeah. But yeah, it's awesome, especially like designs, diagrams, stuff like that. Different things.
I know, I don't have any control over it.
Streaming proposals.
Can you wind that clock forward when it gets closer?
I wouldn't even know how to do that.
Yeah, it was like all of it done in a don't speak.
Is your new place nice? The new city hall gonna be nice?
I've been here all my life and I barely speak like.
I mean, yeah, it's really hard. Harder to park.
Harder to park.
I would think so. No, when are they doing that? Hmm? Oh. She just doesn't want to pack up. are they doing with this? They don't know. Oh, they, yeah. And then. It's a pretty big place. Yes. I know. It's pretty nice. It's coming back in style already. I know, it's not like everything's in the background in style. Yeah. Well, but it is cool. We were talking about this before, like, that's kind of getting in the background. That's what they thought.
Okay, I think I'm just gonna unmute the room. Okay, I think we're gonna get started. So, can we unmute the room? Yep, we're good to go.
Okay, let's resume then. Item 17, 20 Blakely Avenue. Purpose is to construct a second-story addition above the existing detached garage. The altered garage will be converted into a garden suite. There are 5 variances. This application was deferred on October the 9th, 2025, and again on March 26th, 2026. We have a planning condition, and we received 5 opposition letters, 4 from other addresses on Blakely Avenue, and 1 from 19 Ravenel. We have no registered speakers, correct, Thomas?
That is correct.
Bruno Lopez is the agent. Mr.
Yes,
Kumar,
good afternoon.
would you like a presentation or just ask a question or maybe address that objection?
Sure. I mean, if you don't want to do a presentation, I'd like the objection letter that was sent in by Ravenel addressed by the.
Could we just ask Mr. Lopez to
Sure.
speak to that? Okay, so Mr. Lopez, are you okay with not presenting but being open to at least one question?
Yes, absolutely. Mr. Chair, yes.
Okay, then let's do that. And Mr. Kumar, why don't you kick it off with your question?
Well, basically, the letter summarizes that cumulatively the variances seem excessive, and I'm of a similar opinion, so I guess I'd like you to convince me otherwise.
Yes, absolutely, through Mr. Chair. So we were here a couple times. Finally, we got everything together because in between some mishaps within zoning notices and some misunderstandings, we got it all together. We work with planning, and the proof that we did it right and to convince a committee member is that Toronto Planning is on board. So if you see the variances and the way they describe why they're on board, so if we describe minor, some of them are, I would say, extremely minor, if we can call it. Per se, the last one, which is the landscaping, so it's 50%. We are at 49, so it's a 1%. So it's extremely minor. In terms of the variances that we have, some of them are existing, which is the existing walls of the garage that we are using, because of course you don't want to destroy the garage to rebuild just then to offset, let's say, another half a meter or something. I don't know. I don't see the real gain. We see it for the owner because of course he's going to save a lot of money in construction, which is probably the purpose of helping to develop these properties. And in concern to the rear, let's say rear yard neighbor, which is this particular neighbor, we actually did the 45-degree angle. So if you see it at the back, we were very cautious and we did the improvement. This is actually stated on the planning comments that we did the effort. We hear all the neighbors, so we have no windows to the north, no windows to the west, and to the west side we actually did the slanted angle to actually give the perception of less massing, which was one of the concerns. In terms of the variances, again, they are very minor in nature, and the reason why actually planning staff is in support, and the only question that they ask is actually to tie into the side plan that we propose. So we did all kind of magic to bring this application to the very minor possible. So we had previous problem with parking. Now we don't have a parking variance. So this is the kind of scenarios when you start to take one variance, you're gonna add another variance. So you fall into a circle that it's really difficult to do less than these 5 variances, which I already said that a couple of them are actually extremely minor. And the reason why the landscaping is there again is because we introduced the bicycle parking. So there is a point where either we do something or you take something else, and we just spin in a circle that we take one variance, we introduce another one. It's like pick the list of the evils.
Okay, so your argument would be that 1.5 meters in the height is not major because you're doing the angular plane from the rear.
Through you, Mr. Chair, absolutely. So if we consider 4 meters for a 2-story, technically is almost non-doable because it will give you less than 7 feet ceiling on main floor, less than 7 feet ceiling on the second floor. So it's literally inhabitable. So this is something on the bylaw that surely sooner or later it has to be revised, because 4 meters, it will make sense for a 1-story. It makes complete no sense for a 2-story. So this is one of the variances that it's almost on every single application. So it's really hard to go around it.
Okay. Is there anything else, panel? Questions, comments for Mr. Lopez? No? Okay, then I think we can go into committee for discussion if we need it, or a decision.
Motion?
Sure.
If there's no discussion, because I'm not hearing any.
Seem to be.
I think the application is a
you
good
wanna
one.
discuss
It's
that?
good to see.
No, no, it's okay. I still have a little lack of comfort around it, but I think it's going to prevail, so I'm just going to let it go.
Okay.
Okay.
Carry on.
All right, well, with that, I think the applicant, well, they have been working with city staff, and I think the application is much improved, and I'd move a motion for approval, as I do believe it meets the 4 tests subject to the condition in the March 18th, 2026 planning memo.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. Is there a seconder for Mr. Dalton's motion?
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? You in favor, Ms. Reddick?
I did want to note that I know that the.
Do you want to abstain, or?
You know, maybe I'll, because my comment kind of, just make a comment, just because we noted that there were people in opposition, right? There were notes in opposition in the file that we did review. I know that sometimes
There were 5 opposition
yeah,
letters.
there's no comments that.
No, but I specifically asked him
to address
to address those comments particularly from.
Yeah, you said particularly one, and I just.
Yeah, I mean, some of the opposition letters I didn't think were particularly valid, but I thought that one from Ravenel was, and that's why I wanted him to address those issues.
Yeah, no, and I think that's fair, and I just want to acknowledge that there were others and that we did read them, even though the parties aren't in attendance, and I think I'm gonna vote against too. I was a bit torn, but as I
You
spoke
vote against
through
it?
yeah.
Okay, so the motion to approve carries by a vote of 3 to 2. Moving on to, thank you, Mr. Lopez. Moving on to item 18. 15 Lockport Avenue. Just going to summarize it here once I get it blown up in size. Oh, I got that circle of death thing going on. Oh, there it is. Okay. Purpose is to permit a vehicle dealership. Vehicle dealership is not a permitted use in an E-zone. Deferred on March 26th, 2026. 5 planning conditions. Do we need a presentation panel? No. Okay, let's just ask Brian Hudson, the agent, if he's okay with that.
We are. Thank you.
Good. Okay, you'll just answer questions if we have any?
Of course, yep.
Okay, then let's have some questions.
So previous application was for a 7-year period.
Correct.
And are you now asking for a carte blanche, or are you okay with another 7-year?
Well, originally, as you said, there was 7 years. When I was talking with community planning, they said that they were okay with actually lifting that, and they suggested they'd lift it. We are, of course, okay with that. There have been no issues from neighbors or the city or any other entities that have complained, so we don't see any reason to have to come back unless.
Was it a vehicle dealership prior to 7 years ago?
No, it was the dealership is ran it as an ancillary operation to a vehicle warehouse. There is a garage, a fully registered, licensed, and operating service garage down the street that the same owner operates, and this particular site is more for storage of rims, tires, and other ancillary parts to his main dealership. So that was one of the conditions, is that he's allowed to continue as long as it remains ancillary.
Okay. Are you okay with the 5 planning conditions?
Yes, we are.
They were previously approved in the previous application as well. I'm just a little confused about your drawings.
Okay.
So on A1.01, you've got something labeled as EV repair and detailing bay, but I don't see any vehicular access into that area. So like, how does that work?
Oh, sorry. At the bottom center, just below the big note, just below that note, there's actually an overhead door. Just in the exterior wall, just right there, you can see it.
So the entrance is into service and detailing bays.
There is, yeah, so that they can drive the car into service, detail it, clean it up.
And then you move over into, okay.
Yeah, and then it gets parked on some of the exterior parking spaces outside, up to 5 vehicles.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else by way of question or comment?
Well, my only comment is, I mean, I'm quite familiar with that area. I know that congestion of traffic on that street is phenomenal, with cars being towed and moved, and not the kind of place you really want to bring clients to a dealership.
No, that's true. It is a by appointment only, and
Well, you can only sell 5 cars at a time out of there anyway, can't you?
Correct. No, that is correct.
Yeah, okay. Those are my only comments.
Okay, well, let's go into committee and make a motion.
Okay. So I think the only issue is the time limit. I think initially planning puts a time limit on these non-conforming uses just to see how they work out, so that we have the option of reversing those decisions. If they're not asking for one now, I guess it's up to us whether we want to give the carte blanche or just continue that, have them come back. I'm okay without the time limit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody okay without a time limit, or do you want to impose one?
Yep.
Okay.
So it's going to be approved forever?
Or until
Till they sell.
until a business.
Until they
I'm
sell.
not trying to influence you.
With those conditions, if they want conditions
Yeah, they still want
Yeah,
the
yeah.
5 conditions, absolutely. Yeah,
There you go.
exactly, okay.
Well, if there's any more discussion, if there is no more discussion, I will make a motion to approve this application for the single minor variance. I believe it meets the 4 tests. I note the community planning memo, the conditions there, and on my reading from the prior hearing, there was a support petition from the neighboring individuals or businesses. So I move to approve on the basis of the planning conditions.
Okay, I'll second that.
So I'm sorry, you did mention the 5 planning conditions?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so all in favor? Approved unanimously? Thank you, Mr. Hudson.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Now, moving on to item 19. And again, no registered speakers. Thomas? No?
Not for 19.
Okay, item 19 is 81 AILEEN Avenue. The purpose is to construct a new 4-plex. There are 4 variances. This application was deferred on March 12th, 26 and April 23rd, 2026. We have urban forestry condition 3. Community planning is okay. And we have a Metro Links advisory. Are we good to proceed, panel, without a presentation? Okay, so Shahid Nanavati is the agent?
Yes, sir. Yes, my
Yeah.
name is Shahid Danavati.
Hi.
And I am, hello, sir. 1304 Woodbine Avenue, Unit 1, Toronto.
Thank you. Are you, we don't really need a presentation. Your application's pretty clear and straightforward. Are you okay with not presenting, but perhaps answering any questions that we have?
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay, good. Let's do that then. So, any questions or comments? No questions or comments. Then let's go into committee and make a motion.
So with that, I'd like to move a motion for approval. I do believe the application meets the 4 tests, subject to the May 21st, 2026 Environment, Climate, and Forestry condition.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dalton. Seconder for Mr. Dalton's motion.
I'll second.
Ms. Ruddock, thank you. All in favor? That's approved unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Nanavati.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Okay, item 20, 1178 Royal York Road. I'll just do a quick summary here. Purpose is to construct a new apartment building that will contain a total of 10 residential units and a new garden suite in the rear yard. There are 6 variances. This application was deferred on April 9th, 2026. We have urban forestry conditions 2 and 3, a planning condition, 3 transportation review conditions, a letter of opposition from 1182 Royal York Road, another opposition letter from, I've got Kingsway written down here. Oh,
Residents Association.
okay. And support letters from 6 Ashley, 289 and 291 the Kingsway. So I think this is pretty busy, and I think we would all benefit from a presentation by Mr. Chan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Christian Chan. I'm the registered professional planner and agent for the owners of the property. My address is Suite 138 at 157 Adelaide Street West, Toronto, Ontario. And just to speak briefly on the conditions, all the conditions are satisfactory to my client and we agree to them. If I can ask staff to go to page 6 of the planning rationale that just provides some context to the site.
The property is on a street, a major street, so just into that image there, yes, and identify the property. This property is subject to OPA 727 major streets as well as OPA 554 for garden suites, and therefore the proposed development is consistent in terms of the land use and built form that's provided by those two planning policy frameworks. In addition to that, this site is designated as neighborhoods. It's also neighborhood number 9 according to the city's neighborhood profiles. And just to indicate on a housing basis, what's being proposed here are 10 units in the main building, 6 3-bedroom units, and 4 1-bedroom units that will certainly assist in contributing to what has been proven in the previous census, that there was a 2.2% population decline in this neighborhood, whereas the city had an actual 2.3% growth. So this will contribute to the city's housing goals. In terms of the built form, the variances before you today are not related to the built form at all for the proposed 3-story 10-unit apartment building, nor are they for the garden suite. They are fully compliant with the provisions of height and setbacks in the zoning bylaw and the amendments that have been put forward through in 2024 as approved by the OLT, and as well for pursuant to the garden suite bylaw amendment updates of last summer. So the variances are related to site planning matters. In the time that we had the deferral, we discussed the further revisions to the plans with community planning, urban forestry, and transportation staff because there were certain matters that they were not satisfied with. And resulting from that, if I can ask staff to go to page 17, which is the last page of this PDF. The nature of the modifications are such that the waste storage area, which is one of the variances, has been relocated to the rear yard, so it's off the public realm. It's screened from view, as required also by the city's waste collection guidelines. So that's consistent with those guidelines as well. The proposed long-term bicycle parking spaces that were previously proposed in the front yard are now in the rear yard under cover, as well as an enclosure that meets, according to community planning's opinion, in discussions with them, also the intent of the bylaw with regards to safety and security of bicycle parking spaces. They are in the rear yard, they're off the public realm, they'll be away from the sidewalk and guarded and gated in the rear yard. With respect to urban forestry, so those are the two items that community planning sought to be modified on the proposal. Urban forestry, we also had discussions with them. That's also the nature of one of the points of the deferral request, is that they requested an arborist report and tree protection plan and a revised site plan to their satisfaction. And as you can see on the main building, there's a small jog on the north side, in the north side yard. And that was implemented pursuant to urban forestry's request to avoid tree number 1 that appears on the TPP, which is a Norway maple tree. The actual TPZ for that is 2.4 meters, and urban forestry sought a 2.9 TPZ, and therefore the little jog was made into the building to their satisfaction. The garden suite was also relocated pursuant to urban forestry comments to avoid the tree canopies of 2 trees in the rear yard. None of those changed the variances. There are no additional variances arising out of these modifications to both the principal and the ancillary building. Transportation staff also provided input and required on the site plan the provisioning of a line for the 0.4 meter road widening, which is now noted and identified on the plans. And they also noted with regards to the front yard parking spaces that this is an existing condition on the site and that is being replicated in this. Instead of being the two parking spaces for the existing detached dwelling, they are going to be used as 2 visitor parking spaces for the apartment building. There are no parking variances required for parking spaces, as bylaw 89/2022 no longer requires resident parking spaces for this scale of development, but does require the visitor parking spaces. The proposal is fully compliant with the required 50% soft landscaping as a total on the site. There is a soft landscaping strip variance that is a Chapter 10.5 requirement. of having a 1.5 meter strip of soft landscaping on all property lines of the site that abut any residential zone. And as you can see on the top right of the site plan, that area in green is the 1.5 area that of the variance that's being sought, of which half of that is in fact going to be a 1.2 meter soft landscaping strip, and the portion that you see beside the entrance stairs is hardscaped to the property line, which is directly and immediately abutting a one-story garage on the adjacent northerly building. I believe my time is closing in. But in terms of the official plan, in my opinion, this proposal, according to the OPA 727 policies and the OPA 554 policies, is not only maintaining the general intent and purpose of those policies, but in fact fully conforming to those policies in terms of its built form and all the site
I'm going to
planning
have to
matters.
cut you off. You're about a minute over.
I'm over. Okay, sorry, sir. Thank you.
Questions or comments? For
Yeah,
Mr.
I've got
Chan?
some questions. Oh, go ahead. Oh, okay. No, I'm still struggling with the entrance to the parking spots because Google's blocked it out. Your site plan doesn't show access to Royal York. So I guess you can verbally explain to me what the situation is.
Yes, sir, and through you, Mr. Chair, thank you for the question. The site plan does indicate that there will be the existing curb cuts will be maintained. So there's no reconfiguration.
That existing curb cut is 2 spaces wide, 1 space wide. What happens in the boulevard?
So if we can go to the survey, that probably would explain it. So the survey shows a rather wide asphalt driveway that exists.
Okay.
And in fact, what's occurring there, that driveway is wider than what the parking spaces that are proposed. The proposed parking spaces are 2.6 meter wide each, which means a total of 5.8 meter wide parking spaces, and the current asphalt driveway is, I believe, about that width on there. So that is being maintained. There is going to be no alteration to the existing
So
asphalt
you don't need
driveway.
to change the curb cuts from the existing?
That's correct, and we discussed that with transportation review as well, and the existing condition is going to be maintained.
Okay, and then my other question has to do with the soft landscaping that you're not providing on the north. And what mitigation are you providing between your site and the single-family residence to the north where it's all hardscaping?
So if we can zoom in to that area of the entrance and the nature of that variance on the northwest corner of the site, please. If you can go in a little bit closer, that would be assistive. Okay, so that particular section, sir, is that what you're speaking regards?
Yeah, so what's happening there? Do you have a fence there? Do you have some shrubbery there? Like, you're just gonna have hardscaping right to the property line?
So the hardscaping is proposed right to the property line, but there will be a fence there. That could be a condition of approval as well, that there shall be a 1.8 meter tall privacy fence that's to be constructed between the hardscape area. I do realize, and it's also shown on the survey, that there, again, is a 1-story garage that's immediately abutting that hard landscape strip that goes immediately
currently there
to that property line.
Currently there is, but that property may get redeveloped as well, so.
So mitigative measures in terms of privacy would be a fence, and I would agree, yes, that a fence condition could be imposed in terms of mitigating any sort of impacts towards privacy. The 1.5 meter landscaping buffer landscape strip, the intent and purpose of that particular regulation is for one to provide some instances of privacy, but provide opportunities for planting, and it would be that 1.5 meter section that there wouldn't be an opportunity for planting, but a fence would address the same intent of that bylaw.
Okay. And can you address the concerns raised by the Residents Association?
Yes, I can, but should we have the resident association
Oh,
speak
are
to
they
it
going to
first?
be doing a presentation?
I believe so.
Yeah, okay, well then I'll wait for that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But I do have notes prepared in response to their submissions, but I think I could
We'll
wait for
wait.
what they what they would
Thanks.
present.
Sorry, I didn't realize there was other deputants.
Any other questions or comments before we proceed? Okay, thank you, Mr. Chan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
We'll now invite our single registered speaker.
So, Mr. Chair, we do have an additional one, but they are virtual.
Change your mind? You're prepared to stay as an observer?
And
I would like to say something.
okay,
You do.
Yeah, if that's okay.
we'll start with Anne since she was on the list, and then
And
we
Agree Anderson
yep, and then we'll go.
on the list. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair and members. I am Anne Legree Anderson. I live at 17 Elstree Road, and I'm representing the Humber Valley Village Residents Association. We oppose this application. 1178 Royal York is presented as a multiplex with a rear garden suite. The submitted floor plans contain 26 bedrooms in total. With the likelihood of that many bedrooms having multiple occupants, there could easily be 40 or more people living at this one address, which brings the variances that are being requested into question. While the buildings themselves may technically comply, the supporting infrastructure and outdoor facilities, in our view, do not. What's being proposed is simply too intense for this site and incompatible with the surrounding neighborhood context and pose health and safety hazards. I'll briefly summarize our concerns. First, parking and transportation. It's unrealistic to assume that 2 visitor parking spaces will adequately serve this many residents, their visitors, contractors, and service vehicles. Front yard parking is not a solution. It merely transfers the pressure onto surrounding streets while setting an undesirable precedent. We realize the city does not require permanent parking spaces, but we still have to take into account how the site will be used. The proposal provides no enclosed bicycle storage. Covered, yes, but enclosed, no. We're talking potentially dozens of bicycles, scooters, e-bikes, and motorcycles to be stored on the property year-round. It raises obvious concerns about safety, theft, visual clutter, and winter usability or non-usability. The garden suite as well lacks enclosed storage for cycles. In our view, the applicant should be required to provide an adequate, secure enclosure for the bicycles of all nature as prescribed by the bylaw. Third, waste management. Understandably, a development of this intensity will generate substantial amount of garbage, recycling, and organic waste. Yet the proposal does not want to properly enclose the waste facilities and seeks relief for doing so. So we're talking about rodents, wildlife, odors, and litter, especially in the hot months. So leaving waste improperly enclosed creates a safety and health concern for residents and all the neighbors. We also have several practical questions that, in our mind, have not yet been answered. Is the 3-foot by 15-foot enclosure for waste bins adequate for this volume of material that we would expect? How will the bins be accessed and emptied? And what measures will be taken to keep the site clean and litter-free? These aren't minor details. The bylaw exists for good reason, and they should be respected. Finally, fourth, landscaping and neighborhood character. The buildings already leave limited green space on the property, while seeking further relief from soft landscaping requirements. In our view, that additional reduction is not appropriate. We also noted that a large tree was removed from the site. However, the forestry report dated February 23rd, 2026, indicated that removal had not yet been approved. Perhaps it has since been corrected, or there's an explanation, but we're wondering if the committee is aware of this. The city's newer multiplex laws were intended to ensure appropriate streetscape, functional and livable site design, compatibility between properties, and protection of the neighborhood character. Parking in the front yard, or lack of it, lack of enclosed bicycle facilities, exposed garbage, and minimal landscaping does not reflect the intent of the zoning bylaw or the official plan. This application is seeking not minor relief. It's asking the committee to essentially set aside these standards that are intended to ensure livability and compatibility. The variants being asked for are precisely the objections our association and dozens of others across the city raised when the city was contemplating multiplexes to replace single-family homes. Now, here we are going through a lot of time and work to oppose a bad actor who wants to be relieved of various regulations that were put in place to make these new developments work. We're just inviting more problems and frankly inviting me to come back again and again every time somebody wants exceptions to these bylaws. For these reasons, we respectfully request that the committee refuse this application as it is currently written.
Thank you very much. Panel, any questions or comments for Ms. Legree-Anderson? No?
Okay.
Speak.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Doris Christensen, 39 Hartfield Road. And the reason I was sitting here all afternoon is because we actually own the property that abuts this one. So the fence you were mentioning, it sort of, I didn't realize, I thought maybe it's easier to have a clear understanding of the fence that's beside it, just so, as you said, the city is approving these, so it's inevitable. So I'd like to make it as comfortable as possible and not misunderstandings. So the height of the fence, because the ceilings and everything are going to be obviously higher than what there are now, and we're the old school stories, is there any way if the fence could be made higher than to accommodate, I'm not talking ridiculous, but is there a regulation on how high the fence could go?
Could I ask staff, is there a maximum height of a fence? It's a fence.
This isn't a single-family residential zone, so.
I was just wondering, because they are going to have multiples.
Yeah, because it's different for a commercial zone, it's different for a residential zone, and
It's called the fence bylaw. So if we stipulated a condition that a fence be built to the maximum height allowed under the fence bylaw, or wording to that effect? Maybe Mr. Chan can speak to this when he comes back.
Yeah, the fence bylaw for residential properties along the side lot line would be 2.4 meters. But when it gets closer to the front lot line, it descends in height for use.
As soon as you get beyond the front of the building, that's to drop?
Yes, but that's toward, I think it'd be
No.
6 feet of that fence towards the Royal Yard.
Well, I was more concerned about where the entry is from those areas, and just to try and minimize the disruption, which will happen anyway. So if there is something that could be done about that.
so you're basically looking at 6.5 feet.
Well, whatever it is, I guess.
I thought he said 2.4 meters. No?
Sorry, 2.4? Oh, I forgot to put the 4.
Meters?
So
It'd be like 8 feet.
8 feet.
8 feet sounds good.
7.8.
7 point, but 2.4 seems high to me.
Yeah, it does.
It's not that high, I know.
I think it's 1.8 meters as per, don't ask me the chapter, but it is.
But we're not concerned about the front, we're concerned about, I believe, where the entrance is, right?
Yeah, just the way back from sort
it's
of.
about 1.8 meters.
Whatever the rule is, and then.
6 feet.
Yeah. The other one is, I noticed we were going to ask about the tree, but he's already addressed that, I believe. They're not taking the trees down in between? Is that correct? Yeah, so I don't have, that's, seems fair to me, so if they're leaving that. But whatever the fence height could be, that would be great.
Okay, that's great. Any questions, comments, panel?
The only comment I'll make is you can always add lattice on top of the maximum fence height.
Pardon me?
You could always add lattice to the top of the maximum fence height.
Oh,
And
okay.
put some plants through, and then you kind of skirt the bylaw that way, but I didn't say that.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Okay, so thanks. Yeah, take your seat. And Mr. Chan, you have an opportunity now to rebut.
I see, Mr. Chair, there's one more person that's virtual, Caitlin. I'm just gonna connect them now.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Caitlin Papadopoulos. I live directly behind 1178 Royal York at 289 the Kingsway, so I'm very familiar with this site and surrounding neighborhood. I wanted to come today to speak in support of this application because I recently became aware that a neighborhood association has written to oppose the project while claiming to represent the local community. I can say very clearly that they do not represent everyone in the neighborhood, and they certainly do not represent me. I think it's important to point out that if the building I currently live in were being proposed today, many of these same groups would likely be opposing it as well. Yet today it forms part of the character of the neighborhood and provides housing for many residents, including myself. At some point, every building in this city was once a new development, and if we continue resisting all change, we leave no room for future generations of families to live in established communities. When I look over this proposal, what stood out to me was how reasonable and appropriate it is for this location. This is a major street surrounded by larger buildings and existing density, and it's exactly the type of site where the city has said new housing should go. The proposal aligns with the broader goals of creating more housing in established communities rather than pushing people further away from transit, services, and schools. I think it's important to recognize the type of housing being proposed here. These are not tiny investor units. The application includes family-sized apartments, including larger 2- and 3-bedroom units, which are becoming increasingly difficult to find in Toronto. Families are being priced out or forced to leave communities because of this type of housing is simply not being built anymore. From my perspective, this proposal is measured, respectful, and well thought out. It's not out of character for a major corridor like Royal York Road, and it does not represent overdevelopment. On the contrary, I'd argue it's exactly the kind of intensification the city has been encouraging for years. No development application will ever satisfy every single person, but planning decisions should not be based solely on who opposes change the loudest. They should be based on sound planning principles and the public interest. In my opinion, this application meets those tests. I don't see any valid reason for this project to be denied. What I do see is an opportunity to add much needed housing, specifically family-sized housing in an appropriate location that's already intended for growth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Chan, you now have 5 minutes to.
I have a question. Where
sorry.
did you say you lived, sorry?
Right behind it.
Right, and the address?
289 the Kingsway.
Okay, is that a multiplex? It's an apartment building?
It's a high-rise.
Yeah, that used to be St.
Okay.
Stephen's Court, correct?
Oh, okay, thanks.
Yes.
Yeah.
289 the Kingsway.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chen, I don't expect you to rebut what you just heard, but we have the 2 other participants.
Mr. Chair, I took some notes, so maybe they'll jog my memory a bit better. I thank the representative of the Residents Association for their comments. Yes, I can understand new planning frameworks coming into the city, especially in Etobicoke district, something that's definitely new to be grappled with. Many of these types of developments could be seen as overdevelopment. This is not a multiplex, just also to add to the comments. This is a small scale apartment building on a site that has been rezoned through the amendment, as well as designated a major street in a neighborhoods that is facilitating this kind of development. And on top of that, what's being proposed is half the height of what can be proposed on this site. It's a 3-story building where 6 can be proposed, and 1/6 of the dwelling units. 60 units can be proposed on the site. I don't know how it could be configured. I haven't done that analysis yet, but it's a very different scale of development. It's definitely gentle intensification. It's definitely something that is gradual and fits into the neighborhood and represents gradual change as well. The landscaping, addressing the specific points. Again, we're fully compliant. The proposal is fully compliant with the required 50% overall site landscaping. There's a minor reduction of a soft landscaping strip, and although that soft landscaping strip is still being reduced, the overall landscaping still is there. So the function of landscaping to provide open space and stormwater management and groundwater absorption still remains. With regards to parking, again, no parking space variances pursuant to bylaw 89/2022. Loading spaces, this isn't a scale of development that requires loading spaces. That typically denotes a more intense scale of development. Apartment building of 30 units or more requires loading spaces. This does not. In terms of front yard parking and streetscape character, this is maintaining the existing character of the site itself. Not only that, but of the immediate context, which every single property that is a low-rise detached or semi-detached property has a front yard driveway, if not two, as well as front yard parking. This is a major street. In terms of overdevelopment, again, I can't consider this as any sort of overdevelopment. Even an as-of-right development would not be overdevelopment on this site. External waste storage. The waste storage guidelines of the city do state that the external waste storage is acceptable if screened from view, and this is exactly what is being proposed in the rear yard. Residents are also not to walk more than 100 meters according to the waste collection guidelines from their suites to the waste storage area. That's being achieved. In terms of waste production, the unit count is between 9 and 30 units, and this is eligible for multi-residential curbside pickup according to the city's waste collection guidelines. And internalized waste storage inside apartment buildings is intended for higher order development that requires front-end loading in an apartment building. These provisions for bike parking internalization, bike maintenance facility internalization, and also waste internalization, these regulations do not discern whether the development is 6 units or 6,000 units, and therefore what is being proposed is reflective of the smaller scale of this type of development with 10 units, 11 total with the garden suite, and the garden suite has its bike parking within its building as required by the bylaw. And I think those might be my points in response.
Yeah, if you could comment on the fencing issues that we talked about.
Yes, in terms of the fencing issues, it appears on the Chapter 447, the fence bylaw, that a fence on a residential property in a side lot line is a maximum height of 2.0 meters. There is an ability to achieve a higher fence, but you'd have to apply and go through City Council, East York, Etobicoke York Community Council to get approval for that, if that could be an option explored. And my client, the owner of the property, has engaged in discussions with Ms. Christensen as well, not particularly towards the fence, but the nature of the development. And there is an open dialogue, and I believe that the nature of the fence can be further discussed between parties. I think that's my time, Mr. Chair.
The top rail of that glass doorway would be about just a little bit higher than 2 meters, just to give you an idea.
So you'd be looking at a 6.5-foot fence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Taller
on
than me.
That's being put in by the applicant?
Well, we can add that as a condition if we wish.
And then you had another question, Mr. Komarek, on fencing at the front near the entrance.
Not really. Yeah, I at the front it needs to be lower, but it doesn't matter. There's a landscaping strip there. My concern was that there was some privacy happening at the hardscaping where the entrance to the building is.
Yeah.
And I just wanted some privacy to the neighboring property there. And I think just over 6.56 feet should, I think, address
Should
that.
do it. Okay, was there anything else, Mr. Chan?
Unless there are any other questions, Mr. Chair, I don't
Yeah,
believe
just
so.
hold on for a second and we'll check. Questions, comments? No, we're good. You can take your seat and then we'll go into committee and make a decision.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Chair
Thank
and
you.
committee members.
So, we're in committee. Discussion?
Yeah, just looking at the Royal York Road and the neighboring property to the south, I believe, is a three and a half story, which is sort of comparable, maybe a little touch shorter than this one, although it's got on-site parking. So it's not a big disconnect from what's already happening on the street, and given it's a commercial use further south and then the apartment buildings to the west. It's really how this dovetails with the single-family residential that was my concern.
Yeah. Anything else, panel? Questions, comments? Ready to go into committee then? So let's hear a motion.
I'm willing to give it a go. Or do you want to go? Bill's go ahead. Go ahead. No. Yeah, I've done enough.
All right, well, I think the application is a good one. It's good to see that they have been working with city staff because I think it is improved. So with that, I'd move a motion for approval, as I believe the application meets the 4 tests, subject to the May 20th, 2026 planning memo and the condition it contains, the April 2nd, 2026 transportation review memo, and the 13 stipulations / conditions it contains, as well as the May 21st, 2026 environment, climate, forestry memo, conditions 2 and 3.
Anything on the fence?
Can we add that as a condition? Was my question.
Well, it pertains to the soft landscaping variance, right?
Because, yeah, Mr. Chan noted that they are been in contact with the neighbor, so.
I'll second it with the caveat that a 2-meter and/or maximum bylaw permitted fence be installed on the hardscaping portion that abuts the northern property.
Okay. Throw it in.
Does that work?
You good with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so is there a seconder for Mr. Dalton's motion?
That was me.
Oh, that was you? All in favor? Unanimously approved.
Okay.
Thank you to all the participants.
For the record, we weren't opposing the building at all. It's the outside part.
Yeah, no, I get that, and that's my concern as well, was my concern as well. And that's why I didn't realize you were here, because I wanted him to address what you had put in your letter, so.
The building itself, the number of units, that's,
Yep.
that's ship sailed a long time ago.
I'll call for a motion to adjourn at 5:09 PM.
Wait. No, it's I believe what it is where the hardscaping is shown on the site plan.
So from where the stairs and landing are to the east, is that fair to say, or are people just gonna see clarification?
I'm gonna need to look at the drawing.
Just wanna know where this fence,
Okay, anywhere where, how about this? Anywhere where the hardscaping abuts the property line. Okay.
Is that going to create a fence bylaw problem?
No, because it's either, it's to whatever the maximum height is permitted by the bylaw.
Yeah. Yeah, you did say 2 meters or the maximum height
Yeah,
permitted
yeah.
from fence
And,
boundaries.
and as long as it's not going past the front of the building, the height doesn't need to drop.
No, that's right. Okay, now I need a motion to adjourn at 5:10 PM.
Motion made.
All in favor? We're adjourned, 5:10 PM.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.